Civilization Devours. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 151. Xiaobei's Strangeness. Chen Mou looked at Xiaobei, who was sleeping soundly on the bed. The experiment tells us that one of the methods is the control variable method. Now the spiritual energy here has become richer, and people's thinking has become more active, but there are no other changes in the room. The only variable is Xiaobei. It seems that Xiaobei is indeed unusual. Chen Mou's heart moved slightly. Not to mention that the rich spiritual energy can speed up cultivation. More importantly, practicing near Xiaobei will make the spirit more active, the mind clearer, and more suitable for enlightenment. This effect is equivalent to a weakened version of the enlightenment fruit. But how precious is the enlightenment fruit? No one is willing to sell it even if you offer 100 million or even several hundred million. There is no market for it. Moreover, the enlightenment fruit will disappear after it is eaten, but Xiaobei's characteristic of assisting spiritual power cultivation may always exist. Of course, this is just a guess and requires follow-up observation. From this point of view, Xiaobei's role is much greater than the enlightenment fruit. Did I pick up a treasure? If outsiders knew the role of Xiaobei, they would probably worship her as an ancestor. What do you mean by European emperor? Chen Mou was inflated, feeling very awesome. The son of luck was talking about me. But why did I not discover Xiaobei's peculiarity until I came back here? Is it because the space in the cafeteria is relatively large, and the spiritual energy gathers slowly, or is it that Xiaobei's peculiarity can only be revealed when he is asleep? Chen Mou planned to observe it again later. He continued to practice, and in the rich spiritual atmosphere, his body was nourished and slowly improved. His mental strength was also slowly increasing, and the lighthouse in his sea of consciousness was spinning around. This practice lasted for 4 hours. Chen Mou stood up suddenly, and there was a burst of explosions in his joints, and his eyes were shining. The effect of these 4 hours of practice was comparable to the usual 8 hours of practice, and even slightly better. Why haven't you gotten up yet? Chen Mou walked to the bedside and gently shook Xiaobei. Xiaobei, get up, are you hungry? It's time for dinner. Chen Mou guessed that Xiaobei should not be hungry. After all, she had just eaten the amount of several adults, but he had to take her to eat something, so as not to affect her development. Eat. Xiaobei was dazed, and she stretched out her hand to rub her eyes. Suddenly, she was awakened and said, okay, let's eat. The two of them set out for Xinghu Canteen together. This time, Chen Mou did not hold Xiaobei, but held her hand. Dad, I want this. This. Chen Mou's mouth twitched. Xiaobei ordered more than a dozen dishes again. It seemed that his guess about whether Xiaobei was hungry was completely wrong. This meal cost him another 1,000 yuan per meal. Based on 2 meals a day and 30 days a month, it would cost 60,000 yuan a month. I don't know if Xiaobei has the habit of eating breakfast. I have to work hard to make money, otherwise I can't even support my daughter. Xiaobei happily picked up the chopsticks and picked up the dishes to eat. Chen Mou was secretly observing the abnormality of Xiaobei. After taking Xiaobei out, the spiritual energy gathering effect was much weaker, almost imperceptible, and the effect of mental stimulation was also greatly reduced. Is it true that Xiaobei can only display that strange characteristic when she is asleep? Or is it that she deliberately controls it when she is awake, and only inadvertently displays it when she is asleep? Chen Mou didn't care about so much for the time being. Seeing Xiaobei's continuous attacks, the dishes on the plate were quickly reduced, and he also hurriedly picked up the chopsticks to pick up some. By the way, I have to buy you a few sets of clothes. After the two left the cafeteria, Chen Mou remembered that Xiaobei only had the set of clothes she was wearing, and there was no way to change them. So he took Xiaobei to the commercial district of Xinghu Academy again. Chen Mou strolled around the clothing stores in the commercial district. The shopping guide saw Chen Mou coming with a delicate little girl, and his eyes lit up. Generally speaking, parents are very generous when buying things for their children. Sir, would you like to take a look at the children's clothes here? I guarantee that they are good quality and cheap. The shopping guide smiled sweetly. Dad, this dress is so beautiful. Xiaobei held Chen Mou's hand and looked at a little dress in front of her, with little stars in her eyes. The shopping guide explained, Sir, your daughter has a good eye. This dress is made of special materials. It has a skin-friendly texture and is very soft, but it is also wear-resistant. The silk thread of this dress is collected from cultivated spiritual plants. It has a unique property of absorbing heat and dissipating heat, warm in winter and cool in summer. It is only 21,888. I can give you a discount. How about 20,000 yuan? The shopping guide spared no effort to flatter and talk about it. Chen Mou's mouth twitched. Is this good value for money? Good value may be there, but a small set of clothes costs 20,000 yuan. Where is the cheapness? Okay, then I'll buy this set. Chen Mou saw that Xiao Bei liked it very much, so he didn't bargain. Moreover, he knew that the things in the Xinghua Academy commercial district were really conscientious. Perhaps there were relevant preferential policies, and many things here were sold cheaper than outside. Even some people from other places drove hundreds of miles here just to buy something. After all, the university is not a closed place, but open to the outside world. The shopping guide was delighted. The things in the commercial area were indeed good quality and cheap. But if she could sell one, she would also get a commission. The key point was that the other party was so straightforward. It seemed that she had met a big boss. Boss is really generous. The shopping guide wrapped up the clothes. Then I would like to solemnly recommend this set of clothes to you. This set is woven with Bingling silk and designed by fashion master Fan Sibo. It is absolutely high-end and classy, low-key and luxurious. One set is only 25,000 yuan. Considering that you have already bought one set, I can give you a bigger discount. How about 20,000 yuan? Chen Mou looked at Xiao Bei and prepared to see Xiao Bei's opinion. Seeing Xiao Bei's little starry eyes, Chen Mou nodded. Okay, I'll buy this set too. Boss is generous. The shopping guide smiled happily. Boss, what do you think of this set? The original price is 26,000. Considering that you have already bought two sets, how about this set for 20,000 yuan? The shopping guide introduced it again. The following 300 words of the sales process are omitted. Okay, pack this one too. Chen Mou nodded. Boss, look at this one, it's produced by Zhengke Fashion Company. Pack it up. Boss, look at this one, it's definitely the treasure of the store. Pack it up for me, too. Then do you need these two pairs of small shoes? Pack them all. In the end, the shopping guide successfully sold 5 sets of clothes and 2 pairs of shoes. Each set of clothes cost 20,000 yuan, and each pair of shoes cost 10,000 yuan. Chen Mou took out his bank card and swiped 120,000 yuan. Boss, take care. Come back when you have time. The shopping guide smiled sweetly and watched the two people go away. Chapter 152 Story. Dad, what do you think of me wearing this? Does it look good? Back in the dormitory, Xiao Bei couldn't wait to take a shower, put on a new set of clothes, and turned around twice in front of Chen Mou. Chen Mou was writing a new chapter of Red Moon Empire, and his 10 fingers were clacking on the keyboard. Hearing this, he glanced at it. It looks good. Dad, you can't do this, it's too perfunctory. Xiao Bei looked angrily. Okay. Chen Mou picked up Xiao Bei. My Xiao Bei is as beautiful as a little princess. Xiao Bei narrowed her eyes and smiled sweetly. You play here for a while, Dad, I still have something to do. Chen Mou patted Xiao Bei's back and put her down. Xiao Bei nodded and walked to the bed and laid down. After an hour and a half of hard work, Chen Mou finally wrote today's update and uploaded it to the Zhuan's Exchange Network. With the book Red Moon Empire as the platform, the readers of Dog-Headed Military Advisor and Grey Young Master launched a fierce battle. Many people imagined that the battle was stalemate and that Grey Young Master had a slight advantage, but it did not happen. Today is the 7th, and Grey Young Master has maintained the frequency of swiping 50,000 negative votes every day, pushing the number of negative reviews to 350,000. Adding the negative votes cast by his younger brother and some normal readers, Chen Mou now has nearly 360,000 negative reviews. But the number of positive reviews is 550,000. This number, not to say that it crushes Grey Young Master, also maintains a large advantage. The book Friends of Red Moon Empire did not rise at the beginning of the month as imagined, and then weakened. Instead, they became stronger and stronger. As the battle became fierce, some book friends who had never heard of Red Moon Empire also came here to contribute a lot of clicks and positive votes to Chen Mou. Because Red Moon Empire is really well written. Some people have a grudge against Grey Young Master. After all, Gray young master had been jumping up and down before and offended many people. They don't care whether Red Moon Empire is good or not, they just vote and it's over. Why not disgust Gray young master? And they saw the hope of the dog-headed military advisor winning, and they were very excited. They bought a lot of favorable votes in Joy. The previous miracle masters had high cultivation, but the quality of the articles they wrote was average, which could not attract many people to vote for them. They could only rely on their own financial resources to compete with a Gray young master. The current dog-headed military advisor did not call on everyone to vote, but these book friends voted more actively than anyone else. During this period, KZ Yunlai made another move and cast 50,000 votes. In total, she cast more than 100,000 votes, which made people suspect that she was a small account of the dog-headed military advisor. But seeing that the registration time of KZ Yunlai was a little earlier than that of the dog-headed military advisor, it didn't seem like it. Bang! The Gray young master slammed the table hard. Dog-headed military advisor, don't be too proud. Let's see how much stamina you have. I will brush 50,000 votes every day and compete with you to the end. On the last day, I will give you a surprise and make your income this month go down the drain. After saying that, he closed the webpage angrily. After Chen Mou finished writing the novel, he drank several bottles of nutrient solution and continued to practice in the room, absorbing the spiritual energy around him. Xiaobei saw Chen Mou practicing, but did not come to disturb him. She rolled around on the bed, looking a little bored. Xiaobei, if you are bored, just turn on the TV. Chen Mou glanced at her. In every room of Xinghua Academy, there is not only a computer, but also a large TV screen installed on the wall. This will affect Dad's practice, I'd better not watch it. Xiaobei shook her head. It won't affect me, don't worry. Chen Mou smiled. With his current realm, the lighthouse of the Sea of Consciousness suppressed everything, and his mind would never waver. Even if he was hit by a knife or an axe, he would not change color. What's the big deal about playing some TV programs next to him? Oh, that's good. Xiaobei happily picked up the TV remote control and turned on the TV. The Whisper Cat is here. A burst of music came from the TV, and Xiaobei's eyes were immediately attracted. 2 hours later, Chen Mou slowly exhaled, the roaring blood flow slowed down, and Sea Swallow Ju gradually stopped. Chen Mou looked at Xiaobei, only to see her staring at the screen on the TV without blinking, with a serious and focused expression on her face. Xiaobei, it's time to go to bed. Chen Mou looked at the time. Dad, I'll watch for a while. Okay, watch for a little while longer, don't go to bed too late, it's not good for your physical development. Half an hour later. Xiaobei, have you finished watching now? It's time to go to bed. Dad, wait a little longer, I'll watch for a little while longer. Okay, watch for a little while longer, don't delay it too long this time. Chen Mou was a little helpless. Yes. Xiaobei nodded. Another half an hour later. Xiaobei, have you finished watching? You have to go to bed even if you haven't finished. It's very late now. I'll watch for one last while. I think you'll watch for the last time. Chen Mou felt that he had to use his father's authority, so he grabbed the remote control and turned off the TV. If you don't want to watch it, then don't watch it. Xiaobei pouted and covered himself with a quilt. Dad, you have to tell me a story to put me to sleep. Chen Mou had a headache. Being a nanny is really hard. Today I will tell you a story about a big shot. Okay, okay. Xiaobei clapped his hands. It is said that there were two men who were competing in boasting. One of them started first. He used all his tricks and said that his family had thousands of houses and tens of thousands of servants. His life was boring every day. The happiness brought to him by wealth accounted for less than 5%. The other man just smiled and began to talk. When I was young, when I was still an old man, I raised a lot of bees. Every day I would count the hives and bees. The bees were easy to count, but the hives were always countless. One day I found that one of my best bees was missing. I immediately saddled my rooster, rode on it, and flew across the ocean to look for it. Finally, I found my bee on the other side of the sea. A man was bridling my bee to plow the field. The man returned the bee to me. I rode on the bee so that the rooster could rest for a while, and flew all the way across the ocean back to my home. After arriving home, the villagers told me that my father had just been born and needed me to fetch some water. I got to the well and found that the water was frozen. I had no choice but to take off my head, Smash the ice with force, and then put it back. A strange light flashed in Xiaobei's eyes, and he listened attentively. After the story was finished, Xiaobei still didn't want to sleep, so Chen Mou had no choice but to tell another story, and finally coaxed him to sleep. Chen Mou breathed a sigh of relief. Next, Xiaobei's strange characteristics should take effect. Should I sleep, or take the opportunity to cultivate immortality? No, take the opportunity to practice. Chapter 153, Innocence. Practice is important, practice is important. Chen Mou gave up the idea of sleeping. With his current strength and vigorous energy, he didn't need to sleep for a long time a day. After Xiaobei fell asleep, the spiritual energy from the outside world was attracted and replenished in the room, so that the concentration of spiritual energy gradually increased. Chen Mou's mental power also became more active. After 2 hours of practice, Chen Mou's cultivation improved a little bit. It's so late. Chen Mou looked at the time. It was already past 1 in the morning. Sleep, dog life is important, dog life is important. Chen Mou climbed onto the bed, pulled open the quilt and got in, lying next to Xiaobei, and slowly entered the dream. Half an hour later, Chen Mou woke up again. He did fall asleep just now, but there was still a trace of spiritual consciousness active, sensing something unusual. When he was asleep, Haiyan Jue was still running. Although it was not as good as concentrating on practicing, it should have half the effect. In the past, when Chen Mou fell asleep, the practice effect brought by Haiyan Jue was less than 1/10. Chen Mou looked at Xiaobei, who was standing beside him. She was breathing evenly and had a faint smile on her face. She was sleeping very soundly. Is this also the wonder brought by Xiaobei? Chen Mou was happy. Doesn't this mean that I can practice while I sleep? He could become stronger even when lying down. Secretly delighted, Chen Mou fell into deep sleep again. The next day. Chen Mou, are you there? There was a knock on the door. Chen Mou opened the door and saw Lin Chuanzuo standing in front of him. What do you want to talk to me about? Lin Chuanzuo was wearing a simple white shirt and black overalls today, clean and refreshing. But when he looked at Chen Mou, there was a bit of helplessness on his face. Chen Mou, you haven't been to class for many days. Lin Chuanzuo said. Oh, sorry. Chen Mou felt that he had indeed gone too far, and apologized at first, but soon he reacted, it seems that this has nothing to do with you. Of course it has something to do with it. Lin Chuanzuo's face was stern. I have now been elected as a study committee member, and I have the obligation to guide my classmates in their studies. Besides, we are also friends. I can't watch you fall like this. Chen Mou. At this time, Xiaobei also woke up, pulled open the quilt and jumped off the bed, and staggered towards the sound. Dad? Xiaobei's face was still confused after waking up, and she ran over and hugged Chen Mou's thighs. What a cute little girl. Lin Chuanzuo was happy at first, and then surprised again. What, Chen Mou, you have a daughter? No, this is my daughter, I recognize her. Can I hug her? Lin Chuanzuo's face showed an expectant look. It depends on whether Xiaobei is willing. Chen Mou looked at Xiaobei. Xiaobei nodded, and Lin Chuanzuo immediately picked up Xiaobei happily. Is your name Xiaobei? You are so cute. Xiaobei said in a soft tone. Auntie, you are also very beautiful. Auntie. Lin Chuanzuo felt like an arrow shot into his heart. Am I that old? But if I call her sister, it is not appropriate. Wouldn't it be a generation lower than Chen Mou out of thin air? Conflicted. Lin Chuanzuo fell into deep entanglement. Okay, I have hugged her, you should go back. Chen Mou took Xiaobei from Lin Chuanzuo's hands. Yet, Lin Chuanzuo wanted to leave in a daze. No. Lin Chuanzuo reacted. Chen Mou, you haven't said whether you want to attend classes on time in the future. It is impossible to attend classes on time. Chen Mou understood everything the teacher said, and going to class was just a formality. Formalism is not allowed. So Chen Mou shook his head. Chen Mou, you can't do this. Lin Chuanzuo was anxious. I know that although you didn't come to class, you didn't slack off and practice all the time. But the content the teacher taught is still very valuable. In addition to scientific and technological theoretical knowledge, there are also contents about cultivation. Wouldn't it be better for you to listen to it instead of practicing alone? I know you are the top scorer in the written test and have strong theoretical knowledge, but if you continue like this, you will eventually be surpassed by others. Chen Mou didn't know what to say to Lin Chuanzuo's enthusiasm. After all, the other party also had good intentions, but he couldn't tell his true situation. After thinking for a while, Chen Mou said, I am sick. It's a very serious disease. What disease? Lin Chuanzuo looked concerned. I didn't expect that Chen Mou, who is so strong, actually has a hidden disease? Could it be that the woman in the Black Forest did something to him? My disease is that I feel sleepy when I listen to the class. Lin Chuanzuo. Fuck you. Isn't this a common excuse for poor students? Lin Chuanzuo was about to scold Chen Mou, but suddenly remembered the scene of Chen Mou's distraction in class that day. Could it be that what Chen Mou said was true? Lin Chuanzuo felt a little sympathetic to Chen Mou. I sympathize with your situation and can understand it, but the opportunity for teachers at Xinghua Academy to give lectures is really rare. Many teachers are at the level of law scholars. It's better to go and listen. Lin Chuanzuo advised. You believe it now? Chen Mou laughed in his heart. This girl is really naive. Don't think that he used the same rhetoric to convince Wang Zhen's that day. In fact, Wang Zhen's understood the ways of the world and pretended to believe it. But Chen Mou could feel that Lin Chuanzuo really believed it. He shook his head. You don't have to worry about me. Go back first. I just need to read books and study by myself. You, Alice. Lin Chuanzuo sighed. Have you ever treated this disease? This problem is congenital. I went to see a doctor. He said that it involves the brain area and there is no treatment. Lin Chuanzuo's heart sank when he heard this. The brain is the most complicated thing in the human body. It seems that it is really difficult to cure it. I didn't expect Chen Mou to be so miserable. After comforting Chen Mou a few words, Lin Chuanzuo left in a depressed mood. Back in the dormitory, Lin Chuanzuo sat in front of the computer desk in a bad mood. After a while, Lin Chuanzuo suddenly remembered that he hadn't read the chapter that Dog-Headed Military Advisor updated last night. In the past few days, Dog-Headed Military Advisor updated 30,000 words every day, which made Lin Chuanzuo happy as if it was Chinese New Year. After reading a few chapters of Red Moon Empire, Lin Chuanzuo's mood improved a little. Su Zhuan also strolled in at this time and glanced at Lin Chuanzuo's computer screen. Are you reading Crimson Moon Empire? I finished reading it last night, and 30,000 words are not enough. Lin Chuanzuo turned his head. 30,000 words are good, and I have to thank Mr. Wei for this. Su Zhuan's eyes widened, with an incredible expression on his face. Dog, you have a fever. Are you talking nonsense? You are even thanking Mr. Wei. Didn't you register an account online called KZINLE, and you argue with Mr. Wei every day? Screaming is one thing, and thanking is another. Without Mr. Wei, could the Dog-Headed Military Advisor update 30,000 words every day? At his previous speed, he would only update more than 10,000 words in 2 or 3 days. How can it compare to his current high productivity? Lin Chuanzuo just smiled. This Su Zhuan was too naive. Chapter 154, The Battle Between Chen Mou and Su Dao. 10 days passed in a flash, and the day of Su Dao's fight with Chen Mou arrived. This fight also attracted a lot of attention. More than 90% of the seats in the martial arts arena were already occupied. Su Dao defeated Yi Hengayang in a fight that day, and immediately established a great reputation, which no one dared to underestimate. Now he challenged again, which naturally attracted onlookers. It seems that these freshmen are not united, and they started fighting so quickly. A sophomore student laughed secretly. Since Su Dao defeated Yi Hengayang, he has a tendency to become a leader of the freshmen. Today, he challenged Chen Mou solemnly. How strong is this Chen Mou? He should not be weaker than Meng Ziming, Lu Zuanshan, He Long, and Sita Bin. I heard that Meng Ziming once suffered a loss at the hands of Chen Mou. Really? This person was surprised. Meng Ziming and others are all provincial champions, all-round talents in literature and martial arts. Recently, they have been attacking everywhere and challenged many people. Some have won and some have lost, but they have all won a lot of fame. Hou Yuanzhao sat on the high platform of the martial arts arena, looking forward to it. He was determined to be Chen Mou's younger brother, so he had to come and see the bosses fight. However, Hou Yuanzhao was not sure whether Chen Mou could win. Chen Mou did show strong performance, but Su Dao's strength that day was even more amazing. Yi Hengayang, who had broken through to the high level of Miracle Apprentice, was still defeated by Su Dao. Although Yi Hengayang was only ranked 37th on the Little Star Who ranking, it is estimated that his ranking can rise a lot after the breakthrough. It's a pity that Is Hangyang was beaten into the hospital by Su Dao before he had time to challenge and improve his ranking, and his ranking dropped to 38th. Lin Sichen and Wei Lingming were also sitting in the audience. The two women were so graceful and elegant that they attracted a lot of attention. Sister Chen, why are you so leisurely today and come to watch the fight between two freshmen? Wei Lingming asked. Lin Sichen and Wei Lingming are actually the same age, but Lin Sichen is a few days older than her. Wei Lingming didn't understand. Lin Sichen had already broken through to the level of Miracle Master. How could he still pay attention to the battle of the freshmen? The gap between the Miracle Master and the Miracle Apprentice was too big. At this level, one could master the power of resurrection, mind interference, teleportation, control of strong winds, and manipulation of lightning. Even if 10 high-level Miracle Apprentices were tied together, they were still not a match for the Miracle Master. In Wei Lingming's opinion, Lin Sichen, who had broken through to the level of Miracle Master, was definitely qualified to compete for the first place on the Little Star Huo ranking. And now Lin Sichen was third. The first and second were also Miracle Masters. Lin Sichen smiled and shook his head. Although these two are freshmen, their strength is definitely stronger than you think and should not be underestimated. This class is known as the strongest in history. You must be careful not to be caught up. So powerful. Wei Lingming was startled. Although most of her fame came from her appearance, her strength was actually not weak. She ranked 20th on the Little Star Huo ranking. This strength was higher than his Hangyang. Lin Sichen told her to be careful, and it was obvious that she attached great importance to the two freshmen. In the expectation of everyone, Chen Mou finally arrived. In his arms, he was holding a little girl. Everyone was stunned. What's going on? Isn't it a life and death battle? A shocking event? Why are you still holding a child and so leisurely? Chen Mou had no choice. He wanted to leave Xiaobei in the dormitory, but Xiaobei was clamoring to come. It's not that Xiaobei was afraid of being alone, but he wanted to see Chen Mou's heroic fighting. Chen Mou felt a little troubled. He had to fight soon, so he naturally couldn't take care of Xiaobei. Who should help take care of him? He scanned the seats on the podium. His two roommates, Wang Zhen's and Is Haij, didn't come. I don't know what they were busy with. I heard that Chen Kai was also admitted to Xinghe Academy, but I didn't see him today. The classmates in the class are not very familiar. Chen Mou is a little autistic. I didn't expect that I have so few friends, only a few. Finally, he found a familiar figure and stepped forward. Hou Yuanzhao was excited. The boss was walking towards him. Was he going to let me take care of this little girl? The boss finally recognized me. This was the first task the boss gave me, and I must carry it out seriously. Hou Yuanzhao held his head high and waited for Chen Mou to arrive. Chen Mou came closer, and Hou Yuanzhao was about to stand up when he saw Chen Mou passing him and continuing to move forward. Hou Yuanzhao. What's going on? He turned his head and saw Chen Mou coming to Lin Sichen and handing the little girl over. The two chatted and laughed for a while, and Chen Mou left from the other side of the passage. Lin Sichen smiled and held the little girl in her arms to coax her. Wei Lingming looked envious, and she also wanted to hug Xiaobei. Hou Yuanzhao was simply full of admiration. The boss is the boss, and he is extraordinary. Not only is he close to Chiu Xiaoxi, but he has just come to Xinghe Academy and met Lin Sichen, a fury-like figure. This further strengthened Hou Yuanzhao's determination to follow Chen Mou. Chen Mou stepped onto the martial arts field. He had been practicing the magic dragon body forging method for quite some time. In addition, he had recently supplemented his nutrition, so his body was no longer as thin as before. At this moment, he stood proudly in the field. He was tall and slender. Without showing any momentum, he had already created an invisible pressure on everyone. Su Dao also appeared on the field. He was thin and skinny, with a somewhat cold face. He was dressed in white and held a long sword in his arms. 10 days had passed, and Su Dao's injuries had already recovered completely. A sword intent was hidden in his body, ready to soar into the sky at any time. Don't you bring a weapon? Su Dao was a little surprised. Chen Mou shook his head. I'm not used to using weapons. After practicing the magic dragon body forging method, his body was the strongest weapon. Of course, Chen Mou had a soul-slaying sword, which was given to him by senior brother Liang Xian, but if he took it out, there would be no suspense in this battle. Because the soul-slaying sword was too strong, it would shake the situation as soon as it appeared. Chen Mou still wanted to test his true strength. Su Dao didn't say much after hearing this, and drew his sword. The cold sword light filled the entire martial arts arena. Su Dao had been lying down for 10 days, but his strength had not declined but improved. Black air currents appeared around Chen Mou, covering him, and his figure was vague. The sword energy collided with the black air currents, causing a hissing sound, and then was swallowed up. The audience was cheered up. Most people knew about Su Dao's strength, but were relatively unfamiliar with Chen Mou. The move Chen Mou showed now was extremely extraordinary. He was covered and swallowed by the black air currents, and his figure and face were difficult to see clearly. He seemed to be a demon from the abyss, cholera in the world. Your strength did not disappoint me. Su Dao's face showed a solemn look. His energy was like a rushing river, and a sword seemed to be cut from the sky, sweeping the world. The collision between the two officially began. Chapter 155, Unbreakable Defense. Su Dao swung his sword and slashed horizontally. Sword ki appeared out of thin air, forming a sword net that enveloped Chen Mou. These sword kis were extremely sharp, and people felt as if they were being cut. Chen Mou's ki was like the rising sun, and his momentum was like a river emerging from an underground stream. He attacked with force and hit the sword ki hard. A punch was like a fairy from the sky, hitting it from the air. The dense sword ki was wiped out by this punch. This. Wei Lingming sat up straight, her beautiful eyes fixed on the two figures in the field. As soon as the two came into contact, they showed extremely strong fighting power, much stronger than many sophomores. Especially Chen Mou, when he threw a punch, there was a feeling of turning the world upside down and the universe upside down. He was a natural fighter, determined to break everything that stood in his way. Su Dao's face became even colder. With a sword in hand, he chased the light and chased the lightning. In an instant, he once again played hundreds of killing moves. The sword moves were like a dream, and the sword ki was like a tide, which made people feel heartbroken without knowing it. This sword can stop the flow of water. The demonic energy covered Chen Mou's body, and he raised his fist to meet it. The sound of metal colliding rang out, shocking the whole audience. Chen Mou took the long sword with his bare hands. Su Dao's sword move changed, like an antelope hanging on a horn, stabbing towards Chen Mou's heart. Before the sword arrived, the cold killing intent made Chen Mou's heart tighten. This move changed too fast, and everyone present was shocked. Su Dao's swordsmanship had already reached a great level, and he was no longer bound by any sword moves, but was constantly changing. In terms of swordsmanship, I'm afraid there are not many people in Huaki country who can teach Su Dao. At the critical moment, Chen Mou's arm bent strangely, and he hit at an angle that violated human common sense, and his fingers were like knives, touching the sword body and swinging it away. Su Dao's sword move changed again, taking advantage of the momentum and force, and slashed at Chen Mou's face. Chen Mou shook his fingers repeatedly, hitting the sword body every time. If Su Dao's sword moves are like surging waves, Chen Mou is like a small boat on the sea, standing firm despite being in danger. Su Dao was startled. He suddenly noticed that Chen Mou's every strike hit the same spot on the sword. If this continued, the sword would probably be useless. The sword used by Su Dao was considered good and carefully selected, but it was not a magical weapon. If it was hit continuously in the same spot, it would not last long before it would break. He floated back, quickly changed his moves, and reorganized his offensive. Seeing Su Dao's abnormal performance, the audience realized the abnormality belatedly. Chen Mou's every strike hit the same spot. What kind of control ability is this? It's too terrifying. Su Dao's swordsmanship is already strong enough. Although he is a student, it must be said that his sword moves and sword intentions have reached the highest level. However, when facing Chen Mou, he was almost fooled. What kind of martial arts is this? The audience was surprised. The two collided again, fighting more and more bravely. Chen Mou's blood was boiling, and he was fighting at full strength. Ever since he faced Duan Feijin in the college entrance examination, no one could give Chen Mou real pressure. As Chen Mou's strength improved, he had always been the one who suppressed others. Now Su Dao was letting Chen Mou regain that sense of pressure. Both sides attacked with heavy blows, and the air wave exploded. The runes of the martial arts field lit up, blocking the fluctuations. Su Dao let out a long roar, and his momentum suddenly rose. Next is my strongest move, let's decide the winner. This sword is called Broken Mountain. Su Dao held the sword with both hands and chopped it down diagonally. There were no complicated moves, but a simple sword carried all of Su Deo's spirit. In a trance, everyone seemed to see a god holding a sword rising up. Its body was like a mountain, and it had the momentum of holding up the sky. With a sword swing, everything in front of them was shattered. Is the winner going to be decided now? Everyone was stunned, as the battle had only just started for a minute or two. This move is too strong. I can't block it. A senior brother who ranked 35th on the Xiaoxinghua ranking was shocked, and his words attracted the attention of the surrounding students. This is a shocking move, even stronger than the one against his Hengayang that day. With this killer move, you can really win in one move, without dragging it out. The sword move was not fast, but it had an invincible force that locked Chen Mou. There was no way to avoid it. There was no other way except to take it head-on. The air wave exploded with a loud bang, and dust flew. The floor made of special materials and reinforced with runes exploded as if it had been plowed. Is Chen Mou going to do it next? Everyone was eagerly waiting. This move has drained all of Su Deo's strength. If he hadn't knocked Chen Mou down, even if Chen Mou was seriously injured, Su Deo would have been declared a failure, because Su Deo had almost no strength to fight again. Chen Mou can't be stopped. Didn't you see that the senior brothers on the Little Star Who list said they couldn't be stopped? Could Chen Mou be stronger than the senior brothers? Hou Yuancao's mood also became nervous. Can Chen Mou win? He knew Chen Mou's information very well. Even though he was very strong in the written test, Chen Mou's comprehensive ranking in the college entrance examination was still third, below Su Deo. On that day, Chen Mou was not as good as Su Deo in actual combat. Lin Sichen's eyes sparkled, and she looked at the field with a smile on her lips. Next to her, Xiaobei had sat in Wei Lingming's arms without knowing when, and the eyes of the big and small were also drawn to him. The dust dissipated, and Chen Mou stood in the field, his figure covered by a black armor. It seemed that he had not suffered any damage. That was the black airflow on his body, that is, the devil energy, condensed into defensive armor. Is he not injured? That's impossible. He should be seriously injured at least, but Chen Mou is still standing very steadily. Everyone felt a little hard to accept. If Chen Mou was seriously injured, but still held on, this result is shocking, but it is not difficult to understand. However, Chen Mou was fine except for a few scratches on his armor. Su Deo's face was slightly pale. The previous move had already exhausted his strength. He looked at Chen Mou, wanting to see the final result. Chen Mou stood in the field, and the armor transformed by the devil energy covered every corner of his body, revealing only a pair of deep eyes. A slightly hoarse voice came out, as if the devil was inspecting the world. Your sword moves can't break through my defense. My devil armor is absolute defense. Su Deo nodded, and then fell down. He was not injured, but he was exhausted. Two doctors ran up and took Su Deo away. One of them muttered, "This is a professional in the hospital. He just got out of the hospital and now he's coming in again." However, the problem this time is not serious. It is estimated that he can fully recover after resting for half a day, or even 2 or 3 hours. With Su Deo's departure, the winner of the duel was obvious. Shocked eyes looked at the man in the field. This kind of strength, like a ghost, exceeded everyone's imagination. P.S. Thanks to the QQ Reading Book friends for voting for a monthly ticket. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 156. How can you understand my persistence? I'm afraid he can be called the number one under the Miracle Master. Someone suddenly said this, which immediately shocked everyone. Some people wanted to refute, but they stammered a few times and didn't know what to say. The figure in the field was covered in black magic armor, like a god or a demon. His Hengayang broke through to the high level of Miracle Apprentice, but was still defeated by Su Deo. And Su Deo couldn't even break through Chen Mou's defense. If his cultivation level is not as good as that of a Miracle Master, is there any way to break Chen Mou's defense? Someone said with a little difficulty, Chen Mou's defense is indeed very strong, but I'm afraid he is lacking in offense. The title of the number one under the Miracle Master is still inappropriate. Chen Mou's martial arts is probably beyond everyone's imagination. Someone laughed. Although Chen Mou didn't show too much, just looking at the few moves he fought with Su Deo, you can get a glimpse of it. Everyone slowly dispersed, but the heat of this matter has just begun. Someone posted the battle video on the official website of Xinghua Academy, which caused a wave of discussion. Chen Mou took Xiaobei from Wei Lingmeng and said with a smile, "Sister, do you like children too?" Wei Lingmeng's face was still cold, and she said with her red lips, "Xiaobei, very cute. Aunt Wei, can you be my mother?" Xiaobei shouted. "Be your mother." Wei Lingmeng glanced at Xiaobei, then looked at Chen Mou next to her. Her cold face suddenly flushed, and she shook her head quickly. "No." Xiaobei was a little disappointed, and then looked at Lin Sichen, then Aunt Lin, "How about you be my mother?" Xiaobei tried to put on a cute look, his eyes sparkling. "Okay." Lin Sichen agreed. "Yes, great, I have a mother." Xiaobei broke free from Chen Mou's hands and jumped into Lin Sichen's arms, rubbing against him. "Chen Mou. What happened? Recognize the relationship on the spot?" The key is that after having a mother, he immediately abandoned his father. Wei Lingmeng smiled and looked at Lin Sichen and Xiaobei who were playing, but she was very upset. Did she accept it so easily? Am I thinking too much? I would have agreed if I had known earlier. I regretted it so much, but I still had to keep smiling. After waiting for the two to play for a while, Chen Mou said, "Xiaobei, it's almost time. Do you want to leave with your dad or follow your mom?" Xiaobei looked at Chen Mou and then at Lin Sichen, with a tangled look on her face. "I'd better leave with my dad." Xiaobei waved to Lin Sichen reluctantly, "Mom, I'll come to play with you later." Lin Sichen also waved in response. On the way back, Xiaobei sighed. "What's wrong with you?" Chen Mou looked at her strangely. "Life is too difficult. Life is too difficult." Chen Mou was stunned. What was going on? At such a young age, he still sighed that life had started. "I just found my mother, and I have to be separated from my flesh and blood again. Life is so difficult." Xiaobei looked worried. Chen Mou scratched his head, a little confused. "It's almost noon. I'll take you to the cafeteria for lunch." "Okay, okay." Xiaobei clapped his hands and cheered up again. So Chen Mou took Xiaobei's hand and headed towards the Xinghua cafeteria. The two of them ate until their mouths were full of oil, and then they left. Xiaobei's appetite was still more than 3 or 4 times that of Chen Mou, which made Chen Mou feel inferior. Xinghua Academy Hospital. Su Dao was lying on the hospital bed, looking a little decadent. Again, lost. He was not injured in this battle, but the mental blow was greater than the physical damage. "I'm not destined to be the first." Su Dao smiled bitterly. The scenes of the past 10 years appeared in front of Su Dao. He clearly remembered that he had never really won the first place. Su Dao was born in the Su family of Yun province, and was a child of the Hall of Fame family. With such an identity, it seems that he is naturally superior, but in fact it is not. The Hall of Fame family has many people, and there are many branches and leaves. There are direct lines and naturally side branches. Su Dao was born in a branch family, and his blood relationship with the saint is relatively distant. Outside, other clans and children of various forces look up to Su Dao for the sake of the saint, but within the Su family, the status of Su Dao and other branch families is not high. The genius cultivated by the Su family's direct lineage completely overshadows Su Dao's existence. Su Dao wanted to prove himself since he was a child, but he always failed without exception. From elementary school to junior high school, no matter how hard Su Dao tried, he could never see the hope of catching up with the genius. In high school, Su Dao didn't want to continue studying in Yun province, so he transferred to Yanghui High School in East China province. Unexpectedly, he met Chu Xiaoxi again. "You can't do it." A voice sounded in Su Dao's heart. The voice was a little old, with a bit of ridicule and a bit of gloating. "You again." Su Dao snorted. "You are just trash, and you still want to compare yourself with others. You are not me, why do you say I can do it?" "Trash, trash also has its use. You are non-recyclable trash." "That's enough, I'm not trash, I have worked as hard as others since I was a child. Others have finished class, but I'm still practicing sword in the training room. Others go out to eat and drink, but I'm still practicing sword. Others are in love, but I'm still practicing sword. What do you want to prove? After practicing for so long, others surpass you easily. Doesn't this prove that you are trash?" "I'm not trash, I can do it, I just lack an opportunity." A firm look appeared in Su Dao's eyes. "Of course, that's the case. I am your chance." "You." Su Dao shook his head. "I don't trust you." I gave you a chance, but you didn't know how to seize it. What right do you have to fight against others? The genius of the Su family is fine, and you may have a chance to surpass him, but Chu Xiaoxi and Chen Mou are the peaks that you will never be able to surpass in your lifetime. Why do you say that? As long as I keep working hard, everything is possible. Hard work can defeat genius. Heh. The voice in his heart made a standard devil's laugh. I have to say you are stupid and naive. Chu Xiaoxi is the reincarnation of Suzaku. What is Suzaku? It is the highest one in the world. Saints are nothing in front of it. What can you use to fight her? What? Chu Xiaoxi is Suzaku. Su Dao was shocked. What about Chen Mou? Chen Mou is a little worse, but he has also been favored by the spirit of heaven and earth, Haiyan. Haiyan is the lord of the storm. Although he is now seriously injured and his strength has been greatly lost, he may have a chance to return to the peak. You know it very clearly, then can you compete with Suzaku? Well, I'm not much worse than her. Look at the way you hesitate, you definitely can't do it. You're just trash. Su Dao added. Wow, this really makes me angry. Just take your efforts and continue to move forward ridiculously. When you are slapped in the face by reality in the future, you will understand. Su Dao smiled coldly and looked up at the ceiling of the ward. How can you understand the persistence in my heart? Chapter 157, Full Station Report. October 31st. For most people, this day is a very ordinary day. Although it is the end of the month, it is time to eat and drink, nothing special. However, on the Xuan's Exchange website, things are a little unusual, and netizens are caught in a weird carnival. Today is the last day of October. After 12 o'clock tonight, the income of Red Moon Empire will begin to be settled. The battle between Dog-Headed Military Advisor and Grey Young Master will be decided today. In the past 30 days, Grey Young Master has maintained a frequency of 50,000 negative votes every day, and a total of 1.5 million negative votes have been swiped. A negative vote costs 10 yuan, which is 15 million. At this point, even with Grey Young Master's wealth, it hurts a little. In addition to the negative votes cast by Grey Young Master, there are also some casts by his younger brothers, but they can be basically ignored. In addition, there are some ordinary netizens who cast negative votes, adding up to 20,000 negative votes. As for the reason for the negative votes, there are not many reasons, dislike is enough. Recently, the book Red Moon Empire has become very popular on the Xuan's Exchange website. Some people like it, and some people don't. It's normal to vote for negative reviews. So the total number of negative reviews is more than 1.52 million. This number of negative reviews is not unprecedented, but it is definitely a spectacle on the Xuan's Exchange website. But even with such a large number of negative reviews, it still can't suppress the positive reviews like a volcanic eruption. After a month of brewing and conflict, the number of positive reviews for Red Moon Empire has reached 2.36 million, far ahead. Many people feel a little frightened when they see this situation. Whether it is the number of positive reviews or the number of negative reviews, it is an astonishing number. Although the netizens on the Xuan's Exchange website are all Xuans, not everyone is a big figure like a miracle master or a law scholar. Most of them are at the beginner level. Seeing this kind of struggle, they can only exclaim that it is a fight between gods. For a while, there was a lot of discussion. The dog-headed military advisor is so awesome. In the past, young Master Grey was so arrogant, who could suppress him? Now that the dog-headed military advisor has shown up, he has trampled on young Master Grey's pride with his absolute strength. I have a different opinion. The reason why the dog-headed military advisor was able to win is that he took advantage of the website's rules. The website does not encourage negative reviews and sets the selling price at 10 yuan per ticket, while the positive review is only 3 yuan per ticket. Young Master Grey has suffered a great loss. That's true. 2,360,000 times 3 is only 7,080,000. Young Master Grey has spent 15 million this month, and young Master Grey is fighting against tens of millions of netizens alone. He is really domineering. What a joke. The dog-headed military advisor didn't canvass for votes. Except for publishing a counterattack declaration at the beginning of the month, he has been updating his articles silently this month. If he doesn't canvass for votes, who would know he wants them? If the dog-headed military advisor barks, the number of positive reviews will triple, and young Master Grey will be crushed into slag. There are different opinions on the internet, and the atmosphere is very lively. At this time, the entire Xuan's Exchange website was in the red. It was originally a website with a strong cottage style, but it managed to create some high-end special effects. Site-wide news, KZ Yunlai cast 1 million favorable votes for Red Moon Empire, triggering the website special effect, The King is Coming. Site-wide news, KZ Yunlai cast 1 million favorable votes for Red Moon Empire, triggering the website special effect, The King is Coming. Site-wide news, KZ Yunlai cast 1 million favorable votes for Red Moon Empire, triggering the website special effect, The King is Coming. The book review area of Red Moon Empire experienced a brief silence, and then exploded instantly. Fuck, what did I see? It blinded my eyes. 1, 2, 3, am I seeing right? This special effect floated 3 times? Could it be 3 million? It should be correct. I went to the page of Red Moon Empire to confirm it. There is a record in the honor area above. Worship the rich man. Is the rich man missing a pendant? The whole site was shocked. Except for some law scholars who could still maintain a calm attitude, even many miracle masters were not calm. 3 million favorable votes, that's 9 million yuan in real money. It's not difficult for miracle masters to make money, but it takes a long time to earn 9 million yuan. And if you ask them to reward a book with favorable votes, they will never do it. Not to mention rewarding other people's books, even their own books will not do it. Because the website will only give you 1 yuan per ticket to calculate the share, wouldn't it be a loss of 6 million in this transfer? And the guest comes from the clouds trick also broke everyone's speculation that she was a small account of dog-headed military advisor. Because dog-headed military advisor had obviously secured victory, there was no need to do this, which would have resulted in a loss of 6 million. It can only be said that KZ Yunlai is a wealthy man who is not short of money. Xinghua Academy Girls Dormitory. Su Zhuan looked at Lin Chuanzuo in shock. Are you crazy? You voted for 3 million votes directly. How much money does that cost? I was impulsive, but Red Moon Empire is really good, and it's about to end. I want to support it. Alice, maybe this is youth. Lin Chuanzuo sighed. Is that right? Su Zhuan couldn't say anything else. After all, this was Lin Chuanzuo's money, not hers. But if this happens, you will have to eat dirt for the rest of your life. Do you want me to help you? Su Zhuan felt that Lin Chuanzuo must have lost a lot of money. As a friend, she couldn't just sit back and watch. It's not that I have to live on dirt, but I have to save money. After all, this is my 2 months' pocket money. What? Su Zhuan was stunned. Can you repeat what you just said? I didn't hear it clearly. It's not that I have to live on dirt. Not that sentence, the last sentence. After all, this is my 2 months' pocket money. Su Zhuan. She felt a little doubtful about her life. Her family was considered quite wealthy, but her monthly pocket money was only 500,000 yuan. With a monthly pocket money of 500,000 yuan, she actually wanted to help such a rich man. It was really a bit presumptuous. When the website was bustling, Grey Prince was ready to log in. Dog-headed military advisor, are you very proud? You think you are ahead of me by hundreds of thousands of votes, so you feel very powerful, right? It is now 10 o'clock in the evening, but I will not make a move now. Instead, I will give you the heaviest blow at 23:59. By then, your number of negative reviews will be more than your number of positive reviews, and you will not get a penny. Oh, I forgot that you also get a share of the clicks, so I have to get more negative votes. Thinking of this, Grey Young Master also felt a little painful, because these negative votes are all money. But everything is worth it. Ha ha ha, it's a pity that I can't see your expression. I think it will be very exciting. Grey Young Master laughed wildly. Chapter 158 I want to delete this website. Grey Young Master logged into the Zhuan's exchange network. Lightning exploded, and the entire site roared, making people marvel that this copycat website could actually produce such conscientious special effects. Only at this time could people remember the strong capital and powerful background behind the Zhuan's exchange network. The small advertisements that were usually hung on the website made people have to suspect that they had entered a pirated resource website. Grey Young Master stared at the text on the broadcast and fell into deep thought. Site-wide news, KZ Yunlai cast 1 million favorable votes for Red Moon Empire, triggering the website special effect, King's Reign. 1, 2, 3. Grey Young Master counted, there were 3 broadcasts in total. He quickly opened the page of Red Moon Empire, and the honor area really recorded 3 shocking news. Then, he fell into deep thought again. Dog-headed military advisor, you are really a dog. You actually spent 9 million to buy favorable votes. Is there any justice? Is there any law? Gray Young Master slammed the table hard. He firmly believed that KZI was the trumpet of dog-headed military advisor. The dog-headed military advisor even registered his secondary account as female. Ugh. 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 This guy is really insidious. He created the illusion that he has a little fangy role. At this time, Gray Young Master was in a dilemma. Should he fake the negative votes or not? If he wanted to fake them, he would have to fake at least 3 million negative votes to offset the opponent's fierce offensive. In addition, the number of clicks on Red Moon Empire was also divided, so Gray Young Master felt that he had to fake 4 million negative votes. 4 million, 4 million. Gray Young Master muttered to himself. This is 40 million. In addition, he has already spent 15 million this month. Does it mean that he has to spend 55 million in a month? Half 100 million, just to fight for a breath. Is it worth it? Gray Young Master was dejected. After gritting his teeth and struggling for a long time, he finally decided to give up. It's not that he can't take out the remaining 40 million, but what about the consequences after taking it out? Gray Young Master is a second-generation rich man, but unlike other second-generation rich men, he has graduated for several years, inherited some of his family's assets, and started a company. Although he is often impulsive and loves to fight, Gray Young Master is not brainless, but very smart. His company is getting bigger and bigger, and he has never asked his family for a penny. These 40 million are not assets, but cash flow. If he takes them out, his company will definitely face the crisis of capital shortage. If the company goes bankrupt, his life will not be as comfortable as it is now. He can only return to his family in disgrace and be constrained in everything. At that time, he will not be Gray Young Master, but Gray Grandson. Gray Young Master is uncomfortable, very uncomfortable. The most uncomfortable thing is not to lose in an upright war, but that the other party has already laid out his plans and revealed all his cards. You can't beat him at a glance. He was scared before the war even started. There was a lot of discussion on the Xuan's Exchange website. How should Gray Young Master respond? Gray Young Master has already run away in disgrace, haha. Gray Young Master has become Gray's grandson. Gray Young Master's forehead was throbbing with veins, and he slammed the table again. This is absurd, this group of unruly people. He really wanted to fight to the death with a dog-headed military advisor regardless of everything. But reality makes people rational. You only won because of the website rules. If the bad votes were not more expensive than the good votes, how could I lose? Gray Young Master comforted himself and felt much better. Yes, that's right, anyway, I didn't lose. Gray Young Master closed the web page and pretended to be out of sight. You can say whatever you want, anyway, I didn't see anything. The next day, Chen Mou logged into the website. He closed the web page after updating the chapter last night, and didn't pay much attention to it. Today is also the time to see the results. Chen Mou has an indifferent attitude towards winning or losing. As soon as he jumped to the page of Red Moon Empire, Chen Mou was shocked. There were more than 5 million good votes. Now the whole site broadcast has stopped, so Chen Mou did not see the scene. But he soon found out the reason. KZI actually cast 3 million favorable votes. This must be 9 million yuan. 3 million favorable votes. Chen Mou can get 3 million yuan after sharing. But Chen Mou did not show a happy look. If someone spent a few hundred yuan to give Chen Mou favorable votes, he would be happy to accept it. But this is not a few hundred yuan, but millions. Is the thing he wrote worth this reward? Chen Mou obviously thinks it is not worth it. His original intention of writing this article was just to make some money. It is hard to say that there is anything worthy of touching, so naturally he can't afford this kind of reward. He can't afford it. But the other party has already rewarded, can he return it? Xuan's Exchange Network will never agree to return it. The rules of the website are like this, and they will not be changed for individuals. At most, he will personally return the 3 million from the share. But this is obviously not okay. That is disrespectful to KZI. The other party's support is a favor, and it seems artificial to return it. Chen Mou sighed and wrote a short thank you note in the book review area, thanking KZI and expressing his unworthiness in the conclusion. He turned his head and looked at the profit-sharing settlement center of the Xuan's Exchange Network. The advertising fee for October reached 4,231,525 yuan. More than 4 million. Chen Mou's heart jumped. He was always calm, but at this moment he was a little uneasy. Calm down, calm down. What scenes have I not seen in the future? This is nothing. Chen Mou clicked the withdrawal button, and about a minute later, the mobile phone received a bank card arrival information. With this money, Chen Mou was more confident, otherwise he was really worried that he could not afford to support Xiao Bei. This guy eats too much? It is now the first, and the battle between the dog-headed military advisor and the grey young man has come to an end. This battle ended with the dog-headed military advisor's great victory. On the last day, the grey young man did not make any moves, and did not even brush the customary 50,000 votes of negative reviews. It was obvious that he had given up. The arrogant grey young master actually lost. In this struggle, the dog-headed military advisor made a lot of money. The number of clicks and favorable comments were extremely high. Not only was he not defeated by grey young master, but he made a lot more than before. I checked the records. According to my calculation, the advertising fee of the dog-headed military advisor in August was probably only tens of thousands of yuan. This month, it should be at least more than 4 million. Someone calculated it based on indicators such as the number of clicks and favorable comments. Even if the favorable comments from KZIN are excluded, the dog-headed military advisor still has a share of about 1 million, and this is still under the pressure of grey young master. The momentum is so strong. Grey young master has made an indispensable contribution to this. Haha, although the dog-headed military advisor updates 30,000 words every day, which is an extraordinary explosion, grey young master has also greatly increased his fame and attracted many readers. Although he knew that he had lost, grey young master couldn't help but clicked on the Zhuan's exchange network on the first and saw the discussion on the internet. I'm a live advertisement for you. I've become a dog-headed military strategist. I want to delete this website. Grey young master was so angry that his eyes twitched and he immediately closed the Zhuan's communication gateway. I didn't see anything. I didn't see anything. Chapter 159. The end of the book. In the next few days, Chen Mou continued to update the novel every day. Throughout October, Chen Mou updated almost 1 million words, plus some of the updates in previous months. Red Moon Empire has come to an end. The protagonist finally changed the situation of the war, defeated the Oman Empire in the decisive battle, and put an end to this huge interstellar war. When asked why he was able to save Red Moon Empire under the situation of overall disadvantage, the protagonist only said lightly, "There are times when people go against the will of heaven, but there is always a way out for people." In the end, Chen Mou thanked all the book friends who supported Red Moon Empire. The whole book is finished. Ding ling ling. Chen Mou's mobile phone rang. Hello. Chen Mou pressed the answer button. Boss, it's me, Ho Yuan's Hao. Chen Mou was puzzled. When did I have a younger brother? After thinking for a long time, he finally remembered this person. What do you want to talk to me about? Boss, I want to report something to you. Ho Yuan's Hao asked for credit. Recently, I have discovered a big conspiracy, the Xinghua Academy Martial Arts Club. You should know about it, boss. I don't know. Ho Yuan's Hao paused for a moment. It's a club on campus, mainly for martial arts exchanges. His Henggang is also a member. Recently, they had a conflict with your friend Chen Kai and beat Chen Kai up. It is said that they are planning to target you, boss. What? This is Henggang again. Chen Mou slammed the table. The guy who was beaten up by Su Dao dared to jump in front of him. Boss, the leader of this matter is not his Henggang, he is just fanning the flames. It is said that the student who clashed with Chen Mou is a student named Zhou Daoan, whose strength is even higher than his Henggang. Really? Okay, I know. Chen Mou hung up the phone, then sent a message to Chen Kai, asking him to come out for a talk. This matter cannot be ignored. Chen Mou has few friends, and Chen Kai is one of them. A small coffee shop in Xinghua Academy. Chen Mou, why did you ask me to come here? It feels strange for two grown men like us to come here. It would be better if a gentle and lovely girl asked me out. Chen Kai came over. He was tall and strong, and his Daoan combat body had made great progress. He had an amazing aura. Chen Mou glanced at him. He looked very fierce, but he could faintly feel a sense of weakness. Chen Kai must have been injured. Sometimes, hidden injuries are much more serious than some injuries that appear serious on the surface. I heard that you were beaten. Chen Kai just sat down, and Chen Mou spoke directly, which made Chen Kai unable to react. No, Chen Kai immediately refuted. Chen Mou just remained silent. Well, I had a conflict with a person. This person is called Zhou Dayan. He ranks 15th on the Xiaoxinghu list. He is indeed a tough guy. Chen Kai coughed. How did you get into trouble with him? Nothing. My family runs a company that has some conflicts with his family's business. It's just a small fight, nothing. Chen Mou nodded. It turned out to be a matter of interests. Should I praise him for being sensible and understanding that he should contribute to the interests of the family so early, or should I lament that he is still a student and has learned the ways of the society? Chen Mou laughed. This is just human nature. Chen Kai waved his hand. You don't have to worry about this matter. I will deal with him. I didn't intend to care. Chen Kai had a question mark on his face. I didn't intend to care about you. Why did you ask me out to discuss this matter seriously? I was quite touched. I thought you were going to help your brother. Just kidding. Chen Mou said, I have to take care of this matter, but I won't intervene directly. Your physique is a bit special, you know this. Chen Kai nodded. You mean, you know something about my physique? Yes, your physique is called Devouring battle body. Of course, you only have a trace of the characteristics of Devouring battle body. You have to purify and strengthen it continuously so that you can develop its power. Chen Mou paused and continued, Today, I will teach you a magic formula that can greatly develop the power of Devouring battle body, and practice with half the effort. What is the name of this magic formula? Chen Kai was a little expectant. At the same time, he also confirmed the fact that Chen Mou really had an adventure, and this adventure was much greater than his own. This magic formula was passed down by Chen Mou, so it must not be simple. What will it be called? The name should be very domineering. Is it called Hua Dao Zan Bianju, Sheng Chenju, or Dao Yan Ji Ui Yifa? Chen Kai is looking forward to it. This formula is called Zheng Qiju. Chen Mou said. Chen Kai was stunned. This was a little different from what he had imagined. But it was not a big problem. Perhaps this kind of profound magic formula was just so plain. This formula is called Righteous Key Formula. What is its function? After practicing it, will you be full of righteousness? Chen Kai asked. Then you are very brave. Not bad. Chen Mou nodded, looking like a teachable child. The heaven and earth have righteousness. This formula draws the mighty power of heaven and earth to wash your Dao Yan battle body and stimulate your blood. After the great success, your body will be immortal and live as long as the heaven and earth. This is the longevity of righteousness. So powerful. Chen Kai was happy. The name of this magic formula was not very domineering, but the effect was really powerful. Chen Mou immediately passed down the magic formula. Chen Kai silently savored it in his heart for a while, and his body gradually made a roaring sound, and a fierce and domineering power emanated. The blood was boiling, and the sound in his body became louder and louder, like a huge wave. Chen Mou waved his hand, and the miracle power isolated the sound to avoid attracting the attention of people around him. This spell is too powerful. I feel my injury will get better soon. However, some of the contents in the spell are too profound for me. I have to savor it carefully when I go back. Chen Kai was excited. I owe you a favor for this matter. It doesn't matter whether it's a favor or not. I hope we can have the opportunity to fight side by side in the future. Chen Mou smiled. If the Devouring battle body is developed, the combat power will definitely be very strong. Zhijiaxing is fighting with alien civilizations recently, and Chen Kai will definitely be able to contribute in the future. If he can go further, he may even be able to impact that supreme realm and fight against a future enemy together with Chen Mou. Of course, these depend on Chen Kai's own choice. Chen Mou will not use favors to ask the other party to do anything. But Chen Mou feels that he can trust Chen Kai. By the way, Chen Mou, you have been very popular recently. You are in the Xiaoxinghu Bang, but why don't I see you participating in the ranking battle? Chen Kai remembered something. Are you talking about the virtual battlefield opened up by the school using holographic simulation technology? I've been busy with other things recently and have no time to try this for the time being, but now that you mention it, I'm a little interested. This simulated battlefield is also a popular training method in school, and it is said to be able to train mental strength. Chapter 160 Virtual Battlefield. The virtual battlefield is very wonderful. It uses a machine to cover the entire human body and connect it to an illusory space and time. It is a bit like playing a simulation game, with brain waves connected and immersive. But it is much better than the game, and you can fight and train in it. Not only can the physical enhancement be fed back to reality, but the mental improvement is even faster. If you are seriously injured in the virtual battlefield, your body in reality will also be injured. If you are killed in the virtual battlefield, your body in the real world will be seriously injured, but you will not die. Chen Mou came to the simulation room and entered a machine. With a click, the machine turned off and completely covered Chen Mou. Chen Mou felt that his spirit was slowly floating up. Chen Mou in the real world closed his eyes and his body was motionless, as if he fell into deep sleep. After a sense of distortion, Chen Mou felt that he had come to a brand new world. He stepped on the ground and looked forward. There were tall buildings and trees in an orderly manner. Everything here seemed very real. Chen Mou was in a big city, but it was not busy and there was little traffic. This world is a combination of technology and law, the pinnacle of Huaki country. Chen Mou's mind flashed with the information of this virtual battlefield. It was a training ground constructed by gathering the strength of the whole country. It can be regarded as a virtual game, but it is far more than a virtual game. Don't run away, evil creature. Suddenly, a shout came from the distance, and two men ran quickly, one in blue and the other in white. The man in blue ran in front, seemingly in a state of escape, and the man in white chased him closely. Heavenly thunder, descend to the world. The man in white was surrounded by thunder and lightning. The lightning as thick as a python shot towards the man in blue, and the speed was so fast that people could not react at all. The body of the man in blue disappeared from the spot like a flash, leaving only a shadow. The thunder and lightning lost their target and slapped wildly. Some of them blew up divine pits on the ground, and some penetrated the surrounding buildings. Wind rises, blast. The man in white locked onto the figure of the man in blue again and pointed his finger. The surrounding air stagnated, as if it had solidified, and then exploded, forming a rolling wave. The entire street was directly penetrated by this wind beam, and the glass of the surrounding buildings exploded and was shattered into powder. The ground was like it had been plowed, with potholes. A building was brushed by the wind beam, and nearly half of it was pierced. The solid structure was destroyed, and the entire building was bent and collapsed. This wind is extremely destructive. Although the range is not large, it is not as powerful as the Super Taiwan Liberty that covered 3 provinces in the last century, but for this street alone, the power is far more than 10 times that of Liberty. Faced with such a violent storm surge, the man in blue did not dodge it and was hit hard. But he did not suffer much damage. Instead, he used the wind to quickly go away, leaving only a sentence. "Come and chase me, if you catch me, I will give you a big slap in the face." The man in white showed an angry look on his face, and the air around him exploded. His figure flashed again and again, and disappeared in front of Chen Mou like chasing light and lightning. "I just came here and I met 2 miracle masters. It's terrifying." Chen Mou poked his head out from a small corner. On his Xinghu list, there are only 3 miracle masters. I know Lin Sichen. If these 2 are not ranked first or second, they are senior brothers from the 3rd and 4th years of college. This virtual battlefield is nationwide. As long as there is a machine, it can be connected anywhere. But now the various regions are not connected for the time being. It is still in the trial stage and people cannot circulate between each other. Chen Mou is now in the territory of Xinghua Academy, and the people who come and go are all students of Xinghua Academy. It will probably take some time for the various regions to connect to each other. Chen Mou was thinking about things, and the damaged buildings around him were slowly being repaired, and the broken ground was restored to a smooth state. The collapsed building was also lifted up by an invisible force, and the broken steel and concrete were gradually reconstructed. Open the function menu. As Chen Mou's voice fell, a translucent light screen appeared in front of him with a ding. This is the system of the virtual battlefield. There are many functions on the system, including single-player training, man-machine battle, matching mode, ranking mode, etc. Matching mode and ranking mode can be further subdivided, including individual battle, team battle and mecha battle, etc. Chen Mou clicked into the ranking system. With a flash of light, his current rank jumped out. It was bronze, and the bottom one among bronze. Chen Mou clicked the button to start ranking. The system began to match automatically. I have to say that the ranking experience is very poor. Chen Mou waited for 10 minutes before finally waiting for an opponent. After all, there are not many students in Xinghua Academy. There are even fewer online virtual battlefields. Among the online students, those who are in bronze rank can be matched even less. The world spun, and the two sides were transferred to a virtual battlefield. This battlefield is an endless desert. Chen Mou stepped on it and it was soft and a little difficult to control his body. If someone is not familiar with the environment, his strength will probably be greatly reduced. This is also a form of virtual battlefield training. The battlefield drawn each time is random. The one who came was a freshman with a somewhat immature face. He looked at the surrounding environment curiously, and was obviously adapting to the environment. When he noticed his opponent, he immediately shut himself up. Fuck, Chen Mou. He also watched the battle between Chen Mou and Su Dao that day. The shocking tactics of the two opened his eyes and he exclaimed that it was exciting. But when he changed from a spectator to Chen Mou's opponent, it was not so exciting. Oh my god, this matching system is too rubbish. This is my first battle. Am I not a bronze? How can I be matched with Chen Mou? He muttered to himself, unable to accept this situation. Huh? Chen Mou's eyes fixed. What is this person mumbling? He didn't pay attention during the battle. It seems that he didn't take me seriously. Be careful, I'm going to attack. Chen Mou shouted to remind the distracted opponent. He stepped on the yellow sand, and his figure swept across the long distance and rushed to the front. The light and shadow dispersed, and Chen Mou hit nothing. Some tricks, did you meet a master? Chen Mou searched for the opponent's figure. This kind of instant movement trick was probably only used by a miracle master. He did not dare to neglect it, and focused his attention on observing the surroundings, ready to summon the magic armor at any time. System message: the opponent admits defeat, you win, and your rank increases by 1 star. A system prompt popped up. Oh. Chen Mou patted his head, wondering why he had forgotten the function of admitting defeat. Chapter 161 Chen Mou's Parenting Plan. Xinghua Academy Martial Arts Club. Zhou Dao's younger brother was reporting the news to him. Brother Zhou, I just received a tip that Chen Mou and Chen Kai met in a cafe. I personally guessed that Chen Mou wanted to stand up for Chen Kai. Also, after Chen Mou left, he went to the simulation room and connected to the virtual battlefield. Zhou Dao was wearing a sports suit, looking sunny and handsome. He had just finished a set of training and was a little sweaty. He didn't care when he heard it. These two people should unite. Chen Mou is just a child from an ordinary family. Even if he has 1 or 2 points of strength, it's nothing. Chen Kai's family has some power, but it's not as strong as my Zhou family, and his strength is even worse than mine. These two people tied together are not enough for me to deal with, so don't worry about them. With Brother Zhou's strength, of course he doesn't take these two little characters seriously, but I think they are not a concern individually, but if they unite together, they can play to their strengths and avoid their weaknesses, which is a bit troublesome. The younger brother analyzed. Zhou Dao nodded, you have some truth in what you said. You just said Chen Mou was in the virtual battlefield, right? Was he in the ranking or the simulation training? I'm going to snipe him now to see if he is really invincible under the Miracle Master, as some people boast. He is in the ranking. Okay, I'll go right away. Brother Zhou, he is still in the bronze rank, I guess you can't match him. Tisk. Zhou Dao laughed, he is still a bronze guy, then forget it, let him go for now. When he reaches silver, he will be qualified to speak in front of me. The younger brother laughed too. Yes, Brother Zhou is a silver god. After the first ranking victory, Chen Mou continued to click the ranking button. This time the match was much faster than before, and it took only 5 minutes to match. The randomly drawn environment was a forest. The person who came was a freshman named Dongjiang. He had just won a game and was still immersed in the excitement of victory. Dongjiang glanced at the surrounding environment and immediately focused on his opponent. His expression changed from excitement to confusion, and then to doubting his life. A vivid Sichuan opera face-changing show. How did he match Chen Mou? Dongjiang did not surrender and gritted his teeth to attack. The result was obvious. He was knocked to the ground by Chen Mou in just 2 or 3 moves. Chen Mou continued to rank for several games and won without exception. After thinking about it, he stopped the ranking and went to the training room of the virtual battlefield to conduct several sets of free training. After walking out of the simulation room, Chen Mou felt that his mental strength was a little stronger. This virtual battlefield is really effective. Chen Mou nodded secretly in his heart. The only drawback is that the ranking opponents are too weak to achieve the training effect. However, this problem will be solved as his rank rises. If he can match an evenly matched opponent, it will also be of great help to improve his strength. Chen Mou returned to the dormitory and just opened the door. Xiaobei rushed over. Dad, you are finally back. Xiaobei hung on Chen Mou like a koala. Xiaobei, be good. Daddy will take you to dinner. Chen Mou was a little too busy to take care of Xiaobei during training, so he could only let Xiaobei stay in the dormitory to watch TV and occasionally play on the computer. At first, Xiaobei insisted on following him, but Chen Mou persuaded him to stop. When Chen Mou carried Xiaobei to the cafeteria, Xiaobei said pitifully, Dad, I have become a left-behind child these days. Chen Mou. It's a headache. Where did you learn this word? Is this what left-behind children mean? However, Chen Mou also had a headache about taking care of Xiaobei. If he sent him back to his parents' home, Xiaobei would not be happy. If he took him with him all day, Chen Mou would not be able to take care of him during training. As for hiring a nanny, that was not necessary. Chen Mou now had the money to hire a nanny, but Xiaobei was smarter than his age and could take care of himself easily, so he did not need a nanny's care. Xiaobei, how about I send you to kindergarten? Or elementary school? Chen Mou had an idea. This is a good idea. I am simply a genius. No, no. Xiaobei shook his head like a rattle. Primary school knowledge is too childish for me. Then you stay alone, aren't you lonely? Chen Mou scratched his head. Xiaobei fell into deep thought. Ding, she suddenly thought of a good idea. Well, in this way, you give me a brother or sister, I will play with my brother or sister, then I won't be lonely. Chen Mou was simply full of black lines. I don't even have a girlfriend. How can I give you a brother or sister, and give birth to a child? I have to take care of it. I don't have the energy. Chen Mou quickly refused. Dad, so you are a single dog? Xiaobei said something shocking again. Chen Mou felt like an arrow hit his chest. He was convinced. Xiaobei didn't know where he learned so many new words recently. Did you learn it online? After all, there are many stupid netizens. Chen Mou's face was solemn. This should be taken seriously. It must be prevented. By the way, you and Mom give me one. Xiaobei suddenly remembered the key point and shook Chen Mou's arm. Mom? Which mom? Chen Mou was puzzled. It's my mother, Lin Sichen. Xiaobei smiled, feeling very smart. Lin Sichen and I are just friends. Chen Mou hurriedly explained after hearing this. Really? The world of adults is really complicated. You are my father, she is my mother, but you are just friends. A gleam of thought flashed in Xiaobei's eyes, and she was a little confused about the relationship. It seems that he is not smart. Chen Mou touched Xiaobei's little head and took her into the cafeteria. He had to use food to block Xiaobei's mouth. If Xiaobei said something shocking, Chen Mou felt that he could not resist. Sure enough, looking at the dozen dishes in front of him, Xiaobei's eyes lit up. One chopstick on the left, one chopstick on the right, stuffed his mouth full. Smack. Dad, this is delicious, you should eat some too. Xiaobei picked up a piece of meat for Chen Mou. Chen Mou was very relieved. Xiaobei was really filial. When he was old in the future, he would have a daughter to take care of him. He would not be alone in his old age. Wait, what was he thinking? I will become the most powerful man in the universe in the future. I will be almost as old as the heaven and the earth. What's the point of being old? Chen Mou quickly discarded his thoughts. After dinner, Chen Mou took Xiaobei back to the dormitory. Dad, I want to play on the computer. Xiaobei said. Recently, Chen Mou has updated his novel and rarely uses the computer. The right to use the computer has completely fallen into the hands of Xiaobei. Play on the computer. Chen Mou was instantly alert. Xiaobei has been saying shocking things recently. Is it related to the teachings of the stupid netizens? This matter must be taken seriously. Chen Mou felt that he needed to develop a parenting plan to guide and educate Xiaobei. You play. He thought for a while and smiled mysteriously. Chapter 162, Childcare Plan Failed. Xiaobei happily started playing on the computer, while Chen Mou quietly watched from the side. Da da da. Xiaobei skillfully tapped the mouse and keyboard, her fingers flying. Chen Mou's eyes jumped. Xiaobei was a quick learner. She had never touched a computer before, but she was so skilled after playing for a few days. She must be closely guarded. Huh? Chen Mou felt something was wrong. Xiaobei, don't turn on the bullet screen when you watch the video. The bullet screen is where the stupid netizens appear most frequently. It's so boring without the bullet screen. Xiaobei muttered, looking a little reluctant. Turning on the bullet screen will teach you bad things. There are all weird uncles in it. Chen Mou taught. After much effort, he finally demonized the netizens and successfully got Xiaobei to turn off the bullet screen. Chen Mou nodded, expressing satisfaction with his teaching ability. Although he also turned on the bullet screen when watching videos, he couldn't let Xiaobei see it. Huh? Chen Mou noticed the new situation again. Xiaobei, you are still hanging out in the comment section. Chen Mou discovered that after Xiaobei finished watching the video, he did not close it immediately, but browsed through the comment section and replied a few words. This is not okay. In the comment section, jokes are everywhere. Although it often makes people laugh, it is not a good influence on children. Chen Mou educated him again, not in a rough parental style, but convinced him with virtue. Finally, after his throat was hoarse, he made Xiaobei give up the idea of browsing the comment section. Nodding again, he was satisfied with his educational results. Huh? Chen Mou discovered something new. Xiaobei shivered with fear and looked at Chen Mou pitifully. Dad, what's wrong again? Xiaobei, are you still looking at the ghost animal section? Chen Mou attached great importance to the ghost animal section, which is a very silly thing. It is simply the silly sculpture among the silly sculptures. The king of sculptures. It must be resolutely resisted. Chen Mou convinced Xiaobei again with virtue and convinced him. After accepting Chen Mou's teachings, Xiaobei opened the 4398 website and found a water gun shooting game to play. Chen Mou was secretly happy. This is good. But seeing Xiaobei's depressed look, Chen Mou couldn't help but ask, Xiaobei, are you unhappy? Xiaobei snorted, Dad, I don't want to pay attention to you. Chen Mou felt a little tired. It's really difficult to educate children. Xiaobei, Dad is also for your own good, to help you establish a correct outlook on life, morality, and values. Dad, you have the style of a feudal patriarch, which is not good. Chen Mou was shocked. You still know the feudal patriarch? He came to Xiaobei and coaxed him a few times, and soon made Xiaobei happy again. You are bored, so why don't I show you the novel written by Dad? Chen Mou said. Okay. Xiaobei looked a little expectant. Chen Mou thought about it. Although he had saved the manuscript of Red Moon Empire on his computer, it was scattered and not conducive to reading. So he opened the Xuan's Exchange network and prepared to let Xiaobei read it on the website. Chen Mou now has no authority to invite new people in, so he can only log into his own account. If you don't log into your account, the content of the Xuan's Exchange network cannot be browsed at all. Xiaobei clicked on the novel and read it with relish. At first, Chen Mou was worried that such a young child might not understand science fiction and feel bored. But Xiaobei was obviously absorbed in it. Chen Mou did not just stare at it, but went to practice on the side. As a parent, you must give your child some space and not stare at everything, which is not good for the child's growth. Chen Mou gave his parenting skills 32 thumbs up. After practicing for about 2 hours, Chen Mou got up and saw Xiaobei still staring at the computer, tapping the mouse and keyboard from time to time. Xiaobei, don't look at it for too long, let your eyes rest for a while. Chen Mou walked over. Huh? What are you doing? Chen Mou found that Xiaobei was chatting with someone. Dad, I saw someone sent me a message, so I replied. It's fun to chat with a person on the other side. Xiaobei said happily. Oh, so that's it. Chen Mou wanted to check the situation, but he felt that this was disrespectful to Xiaobei's privacy. Well, as a parent, you have to lead by example. Just as he was about to ask Xiaobei, a flash of light suddenly flashed in his mind. Wait, is that a message for you? This seems to be my account. Chen Mou hurriedly moved closer to observe the situation. The one chatting with Xiaobei was the rich man Haiyan Jue. Xiaobei, make way. This is my message. You can't just read it casually, let alone reply casually. Do you understand? Chen Mou felt that it was necessary to teach him. Ah, is that so? Xiaobei was stunned. Thinking about it, it seemed to be true. He immediately looked like he had done something wrong. Chen Mou touched Xiaobei's head, picked him up, and sat on the seat himself. Xiaobei sat on Chen Mou's lap. He looked at the chat records between Xiaobei and Haiyan Jue. Haiyan, is the military advisor here? When will the next book be published? Dog-headed military advisor 1, there is no plan to publish a book for the time being. Haiyan, really? That's a pity. Dog-headed military advisor 1, I'm sorry too. Then the two chatted enthusiastically, with a lot of cute emoticons. This emoticon was sent by the dog-headed military advisor. From the chat records, it can be seen that KZI Unlay is increasingly doubting his life. KZI Unlay, military advisor, you are so humorous. The real voice in my heart, I feel that my cognition has been completely overturned. In KZI Unlay's mind, the dog-headed military advisor should be powerful and aloof, at least at the peak of the law scholar, and there is even a certain possibility that he is a saint. Because the article analyzing the typhoon was written in great detail, I am afraid it is at the level of a saint. I didn't expect the dog-headed military advisor to be so approachable. Chen Mou looked at Xiaobei. Where did you get so many emoticons? I saved them online. Xiaobei whispered, as if he felt that he had done something wrong and lacked confidence. Chen Mou sweated for a while, did not criticize Xiaobei, but replied online, sorry, it was my daughter who was chatting just now. KZI Unlay, is that so? I see, your daughter is very cute, and I had a lot of fun chatting with her. In the following chat, KZI Unlay took the opportunity to ask the dog-headed military advisor for advice on several difficult problems in cultivation. These were not difficult for Chen Mou at all, and he solved them easily. The two chatted for a while and finally ended the chat. Lin Chuanzuo was in the dormitory, showing a relieved look. So that's how it is. I said that the dog-headed military advisor would never send such an emoticon pack. After being relieved, he felt a little lost. It would be great if the dog-headed military advisor was really as easy to talk to as his daughter. But this is impossible. The other party is destined to be a high-ranking big shot. It would be good to have a few words. This consultation made Lin Chuanzuo feel like he had been enlightened, and the doubts in his heart were solved at once. Although Lin Chuanzuo's great-grandfather was also a saint, he was in the starry sky battlefield all year round and was often out of contact. The performance of the dog-headed military advisor gave Lin Chuanzuo a sense of mystery similar to that of a saint. This made Lin Chuanzuo more certain that the other party was a big shot. Chen Mou looked at Xiaobei. Xiaobei lowered his head and stared at his shoes, not daring to say much. Chen Mou sighed and felt that his education had failed. If Xiaobei lost his happiness because of his education, that was not what Chen Mou wanted. Xiaobei, you can play whatever you want in the future, watch the comments, browse the comments, play with emoticons, as long as you don't learn bad things. Really? Xiaobei suddenly became happy. Of course. But they are stupid. I figured it out. What's wrong with stupid netizens? With their stupidity, they bring joy to others. They are great people. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 163 Teacher Lin's Class. The next day, Chen Mou continued to enter the virtual battlefield and started the ranking mode. As his rank got higher and higher, the opponents he matched with also became stronger, but they still had little chance in front of Chen Mou. 1 star was added for each victory, and the number of stars kept rising, and his rank was also slowly rising. Ling. Chen Mou had just come out of the simulation room when his WeChat message rang. It was a message from Lin Chuanzuo. Chen Mou, are you free? Come out and meet me. Where are you going? Chen Mou replied. The library. I'll be there soon. The library of Xinghua Academy was built in a very grand style, with a large area, several floors, and air conditioning throughout. Chen Mou searched for a while before finding Lin Chuanzuo. What are you calling me for? It's like this, I feel that you often don't attend classes, and you must be behind in your courses, so I decided to give you tutoring. Lin Chuanzuo sat in a seat in the library, with several books placed in front of the table. Chen Mou was surprised. What was going on? There was still tutoring? Although you are the study committee member, you don't have to be so serious and responsible. He was moved. What kind of spirit is this? This is the spirit of selfless dedication to others. But I refuse. Chen Mou said. Chen Mou, you can't be like this. It's rare for you to come to Xinghua Academy. How can you not study hard? Your parents will be so sad. Lin Chuanzuo's little face showed an anxious look. Everyone knows that the 4 famous schools are strong, but there are different opinions on which aspect they are strong. Some say that the four famous schools have rich spiritual energy and fast cultivation. Some say that the four famous schools have many training rooms with different functions and a lot of various equipment. But in fact, these statements are not accurate enough. In the outside world, if you are willing to spend a lot of money, you can barely meet these conditions. The strongest of the four famous schools is actually the faculty. There are many strong people here, and there are many law scholars. There are also many teachers who are top figures in various fields and have extensive knowledge. These cannot be summarized by a high level of cultivation. In the outside world, it is impossible to gather so many masters. No organization has such a face. Only the four major schools have such appeal. Because this is for the future of the country and for Huiki's cause. Youth is the future of the country. What the youth looks like, the future of the country will look like. But Chen Mou didn't know how to cherish such a good opportunity, and Lin Chuanzuo felt very distressed. Chen Mou also had his own frustration. His knowledge was not inferior to those teachers at all, so why did he need to attend classes? He came to Xinghua Academy to study because he really liked the training grounds and training equipment here. In the outside world, it might cost 10 million yuan a year to achieve such conditions, and the tuition fee of Xinghua Academy was only 500,000 yuan. This tuition fee was waived for Chen Mou. However, this matter cannot be told to Lin Chuanzuo. It seems too arrogant to say that I am better than the teacher. I am just average. In Lin Chuanzuo's expectant eyes, Chen Mou sat on the chair next to him. Okay, I will listen to Teacher Lin's lectures. I am not worthy of the title of teacher. Lin Chuanzuo smiled with satisfaction, opened the book, and began to explain. Lin Chuanzuo's lecture level is good. It can be seen that after careful preparation, he speaks eloquently and explains the knowledge points in a simple and easy-to-understand way. Chen Mou nodded frequently, which encouraged Lin Chuanzuo to speak very hard. It is November now, the end of autumn. The light sunlight penetrates through the window of the library, giving Lin Chuanzuo's profile a golden hue. Chen Mou looked at her light bangs on her forehead and her lightly blinking eyelashes, and seemed to see the shadow of another person in them. That was Chen Mou's junior high school classmate. The elementary school Chen Mou attended did not teach foreign languages, but most elementary schools did. When he entered the first grade of junior high school, the foreign language teacher also taught according to the standards of most people. For a while, Chen Mou found it very difficult to learn and could not keep up with the progress. Hey, tell me how to read this word. Chen Mou asked a girl behind him. The phonetic symbols of this word are like this. No need to teach phonetic symbols, just tell me how to read it. What's the use of only knowing how to read? If you don't know phonetic symbols, you won't be able to read in the future, and you will not be able to learn it well. The girl's personality was a bit stubborn, and she had to drag Chen Mou to learn phonetic symbols. Although doing so would take her more time. In addition to phonetic symbols, the other party would occasionally take the time to teach Chen Mou knowledge such as grammar. Chen Mou has always been smart in cultural subjects. With the help of the other party, he quickly improved his foreign language level. He always felt that this was his mentor. Unfortunately, after the girl transferred to another school in the third year of junior high school, the two never met again. With a snap, Lin Chuanzuo tapped Chen Mou's head with a plastic pen to pull him back from his memory. Listening to the class, why are you distracted? Lin Chuanzuo found that Chen Mou had been staring at him, and his face flushed. You don't mean that to me, do you? You are dreaming. Chen Mou said unhappily. What do you mean by dreaming? Lin Chuanzuo snorted, a little unhappy. This girl is so young, cute, and full of energy. Continued the class. Lin Chuanzuo started to teach angrily. This question is a little wrong, it can be simplified a little bit, your solution is too complicated. Chen Mou suddenly pointed out one of the unreasonable points. It's not that Lin Chuanzuo's solution is wrong, that way can also get the correct answer, but it's a little complicated and far away. Chen Mou talked about his method of solving the problem. Lin Chuanzuo was a little speechless. What I just said was what the teacher said in the first class. The method you said is a bit similar to the simplified method the teacher talked about in the second class. Did you secretly make up for the lessons? Lin Chuanzuo stared at Chen Mou with a suspicious look. That's not the case. I thought you had skipped so many classes and were behind the times, but I didn't expect you to be so good. Well, let's start the next class and talk about the operating principle of Micha. Lin Chuanzuo took out another book. After another hour of talking, Chen Mou had been listening quietly. He suddenly said, The energy shield of this B-class mecha seems to have some problems in its operation. The energy circuit is not optimized, and the power consumption is quite large. C-class mecha does not have an energy shield. But starting from the B-class mecha, the mecha can turn on the energy shield, which can resist and weaken gunfire, laser and other attack methods, and effectively protect the mecha body. In Chen Mou's opinion, the principle of generating energy shields described in the book is a bit backward, and the energy loss is relatively large during the whole process. He briefly talked about his improvement ideas. Lin Chuanzuo was stunned. Although he didn't fully understand what was said, he felt a sense of power. One of her family's main businesses was mechas. The Lin family's mecha group had studied the technology deeply, which was much better than what was in the books. Lin Chuanzuo himself didn't know too much about it, but he was very good at it. When he heard Chen Mou's improvement method, he felt it was unusual. Chapter 164, Ideas for Mecha Improvement. This improvement method seems to have several technical obstacles. Lin Chuanzuo's intuition told her that the method Chen Mou said was feasible. But feasibility is only one aspect. According to the situation she had, technical obstacles still needed to be overcome. It takes a process to go from theory to reality. If the technical obstacles cannot be overcome, no matter how good the theory is, it is useless. But Chen Mou was able to come up with a theory, which was already very valuable, equivalent to pointing out the direction. Chen Mou also made his own suggestions for this technical obstacle. However, he did not go into detail about every step. Because even he did not study the entire process. Chen Mou felt that with his level, if he studied it seriously for a period of time, he would definitely be able to break through the technical obstacles. This is his confidence. But he was not interested in this. Chen Mou now still wanted to improve his strength as soon as possible. Wait? A flash of light flashed in Chen Mou's mind. If I come up with this improvement measure and sell the results to those mecha companies, there should be a lot of money. If you want to talk about this, I will be interested. Chen Mou has been afraid of poverty since he was a child, and he will definitely not let go of any opportunity to make money. Moreover, with money, you can buy more cultivation resources, which is very beneficial for cultivation. With a higher level of cultivation, you can make more money. This is a virtuous circle. Chen Mou thinks that this matter can be considered. But he is not in a hurry. He is now worth millions and feels good about himself. He is not too eager to make money. Chen Mou, can I reveal your improvement idea? Lin Chuanzuo thought of his own mecha company. If improvements can be made in this way, the competitiveness in the market will be greatly enhanced. Lin Chuanzuo looked at Chen Mou with some expectation. If the other party refuses, he will pay a month's pocket money. No, a month is too much. I have no money to spend recently. Pay half a month's pocket money to buy this improvement idea from the other party. After all, it is just an idea, which is not very valuable. If there are specific operating procedures, algorithms, and improvement measures, Lin Chuanzuo probably can't afford it. It's just an idea. You can use it casually. I don't care. Chen Mou didn't care about it. What's the use of an idea? What is really useful is still specific things. Talking about ideas is just a matter of words. To really come up with something practical, Chen Mou feels that it will take him a long time. What? Use it as you like. Chen Mou, you are so generous. Lin Chuanzuo was delighted. It seemed that he didn't have to spend money to buy it. After all, he was quite poor recently, so he might as well save some money. Chen Mou, who had no idea what he had missed, glanced at Lin Chuanzuo strangely, not understanding why he was so excited. The two ended the topic, and teacher Lin continued to lecture. But as he was talking, Lin Chuanzuo became a little discouraged. Chen Mou was simply able to pick up these knowledge points easily, and he didn't look like a student who skipped classes every day. He even gave her guidance from time to time. Today's makeup class is over. Lin Chuanzuo announced. She blushed a little, feeling that she didn't guide Chen Mou in any way, but helped him answer many questions. Finally freed. Chen Mou whispered, with a relieved smile on his face. Although the voice was low, Lin Chuanzuo still heard it and couldn't help showing an annoyed look. But there was nothing he could do. Instead of making up for the lessons, he was lectured by Chen Mou. It was so embarrassing. Let's go have a meal together. Chen Mou suggested. Okay, where should we go? Lin Chuanzuo had several places in mind. Should we go to Xingho Coffee Shop, Wang Jiangxi Restaurant, or Anlangsuan? Xingho Canteen. Lin Chuanzuo. In the end, The two chose the canteen that was delicious and affordable. When they were almost done eating, Chen Mou ran to order 10 dishes and pack them up. Lin Chuanzuo's pupils shrank. You actually want to pack so much? It was so scary. It's not me, I packed it for Xiaobei. Haha, who would believe it? Lin Chuanzuo shook his head. Chen Mou didn't even find a good excuse. Xiaobei had seen it himself that day. How much could such a little guy eat? Just eat if you want to. I won't despise you. Chen Mou shrugged and left with his bags. Seeing Chen Mou leave, Lin Chuanzuo also strolled out. Walking to a remote place, Lin Chuanzuo took out his mobile phone, found a number and called. It's Chuanzuo, what's the matter? An old man appeared on the screen of the mobile phone. His hair was gray, but he was still in good spirits and full of energy. Grandpa. Lin Chuanzuo smiled sweetly. This time I came to you mainly for the matter of our Haiyan Armor Company. The old man opposite was Lin Chuanzuo's grandfather Lin Huifeng, who was also the boss of the Lin family. He was the son of the saint of the Lin family. Lin Xing did not interfere in family affairs, so Lin Huifeng was the actual leader of the Lin family. The Lin family has many businesses, covering all walks of life, and is controlled by different clansmen. The most important business among them is the mecha business, which is controlled by Lin Huifeng himself. Is it related to Haiyan armor? Lin Huifeng became interested. This is exactly the field he is familiar with and the lifeblood of the Lin family. Although the Lin family will never fall with Lin Sheng, if the management is not good and the business shrinks, the clan members will not have a good life, at least they have to spend money in moderation. The Lin family's Haiyan War Armor Company is one of the 3 largest mecha groups in China, but it has recently been targeted by the other 2 mecha companies and foreign-funded groups, and it is not doing well. In the mecha business, if you fall behind, you will be beaten. It is impossible to rely on the power of the saint to go smoothly. Lin Chuanzuo explained Chen Mou's idea in detail, and finally added, this is what a friend of mine said. Lin Huifeng listened, frowned deeply, and fell into deep thought. This idea is very insightful. If it can be improved, we will definitely be able to wipe out the decline in the mecha market, but this idea is too simple, and there are no details at all. It's hard to say whether it will work. Lin Huifeng was a little uncertain. That's your business, I can't do anything about it. Is your friend engaged in scientific research? He has a lot of ideas. You can ask him if he is interested in coming to our company after graduation. I will give him a monthly salary of 1 million, and it can be increased in the future. If he performs well, I can consider slowly promoting him to the leadership. Lin Huifeng suddenly said. Lin Chuanzuo thought about how Chen Mou skipped classes every day and went to the training room to practice, and shook his head quickly. Not only does he not like to do scientific research, he is also a practice fanatic, thinking about how to practice all the time. That's a pity. Lin Huifeng was a little surprised. A person who doesn't do scientific research can actually have such a groundbreaking idea. Was it a flash of inspiration? However, the other party did not mention too many practical things. Maybe he really had inspiration, but he didn't know enough about mechas, so he couldn't go into the details. Chapter 165, Big Discounts, what are you waiting for? Grandpa, have you considered it? Is this improvement idea feasible? Lin Chuanzuo asked. She knew something about mechas, but not too deeply, and her judgment on this matter was still not clear enough. It's hard to say. No one can guarantee it before the actual results are produced, but it's worth a try. Lin Huifeng's eyes flashed with a resolute light. I plan to select members of the elite team, a total of 10 people, to conduct experiments on this. If the direction is correct, it should take at least half a year or a year to produce results. 10 members are the limit that Lin Huifeng can accept. On the one hand, if it fails in the end, the loss of manpower and material resources is still within the acceptable range. On the other hand, a team of 10 can also communicate better. If there are too many people, it will cause communication inconvenience. Lin Chuanzuo exclaimed, it takes so long, Grandpa, isn't your elite team known to have a monthly salary of 1 million? They can't even overcome a small difficulty. You little kid, you would say that without you coming. When you really come on stage, you will find it difficult. Lin Huifeng seized the opportunity to give his granddaughter a profound ideological education. After thinking about it, Lin Huifeng felt that this time was indeed a bit long. In the mecha market, technology iteration is still quite fast, and time is life. Then let Zhang Yuan come to lead the team. With him taking the lead, Progress should be faster. Lin Huofeng made a decision. The two chatted for a while and finally hung up the phone. Time flies. Chen Mou spends every day in cultivation. The nutrient solution and other cultivation materials he bought before have been exhausted. At my current level, the effect of the nutrient solution is not very great. The effect of the concentrating spirit wood is still there, but it is not too good. Chen Mou frowned and went to the commercial district for a walk. The enhanced version of the nutrient solution, a big discount, only 160,000 yuan a box. What are you waiting for? The enhanced nutrient solution with an original price of 180,000 yuan is now only 160,000 yuan a box. The discount is limited, and it will be sold out. Just after walking a short distance in the commercial district, Chen Mou saw this exciting promotion. With a discount, how can classmate Chen Mou be left out? So Chen Mou hurried over. I want 3 boxes. The salesman smiled and shouted for a long time. Finally, a big customer came. He quickly packed 3 boxes of enhanced nutrient solution for Chen Mou, with a total price of 480,000 yuan. With a click, Chen Mou successfully paid by swiping his card. The salesman smiled even more brightly, showing his enthusiasm for service. He also sent a storage robot to store the nutrient solution and follow Chen Mou away. The robot will follow Chen Mou until he returns home, until it helps Chen Mou deliver the nutrient solution to his home, dormitory, and then return to the store. All of this is controlled by the robot's internal program and does not require human intervention. Chen Mou is also quite satisfied. This enhanced nutrient solution is 3 times the price of ordinary nutrient solution, but the effect is also worthy of the price, which is much better than the ordinary nutrient solution. Ordinary nutrient solution is not very useful for Chen Mou now. He just came here to buy a higher-end one and encountered a promotion. Isn't this luck? And the service is also extraordinary, and there are robots delivering it personally. It's better to come at the right time than to come early. I'm so lucky to come here and encounter a promotion right away. Chen Mou said happily. Someone next to him saw his smugness and couldn't help but remind him, classmate, you haven't been into the commercial area for a long time. The promotion has been going on for 10 days. Chen Mou's face darkened when he heard this. Is that so? No wonder his business was not good when I went there. It seems that people who wanted to buy had already bought it. He also told me that it was sold out while stocks last. It's been on sale for 10 days. Don't you still have a lot of things that haven't been sold? Anyway, I'm not losing money. Chen Mou comforted himself, at least he did save 20,000 yuan per box. This is Xinghua's commercial area, and there can't be fakes. As for the shelf life, Chen Mou opened the robot's locker, took a look, and felt relieved. It was only produced for a month, and it's still quite fresh. I made a profit. Chen Mou also had an idea to buy a few more boxes and then resell them online. I guess he could make some money. But the store just now seemed to have a sign that each person was limited to 5 boxes, and only Xinghua students were allowed. The price of nutrient solution is basically the same across the country. Even if there is a discount, the margin is very small. This discount is so big, it should be a benefit unique to Xinghua Academy. Chen Mou changed his mind and gave up. There is no need to fleece the merchants. People should learn to be content. Chen Mou continued to stroll in the commercial district. Yang Shen Mou, don't miss it if you pass by, 30,000 yuan per piece. Yang Shen Mou, the ultimate enhanced version of Ning Shen Mou, don't miss it if you pass by. A small speaker sounded, combined with a dynamic LCD screen, it gave people a huge impact invisibly. Especially the number of 30,000, which seemed so dazzling. Is there a discount? Chen Mou ran over and asked. No, this is the national unified price. The salesperson replied. Okay, buy 10. Okay, I'll pack it for you. Because each Yang Shen Mou is not large in size, similar to Ning Shen Mou, there is no robot delivery service. It was packed in a small bag that looks high-end and was directly given to Chen Mou to take away. Practicing is really too expensive. When leaving, Chen Mou sighed. After a stroll, 780,000 yuan was gone. Who could afford this? Fortunately, I received the advertising revenue from the website. In other words, the manuscript fee. When I returned to the dormitory, Xiaobei rushed over. Dad, you just told me that you went to the commercial district. What good things did you buy? Let your good daughter see it. Xiaobei glanced behind Chen Mou and showed a look of astonishment. You bought a robot. What robot? This is a delivery man. The device on the robot's chest opened, and Chen Mou took out the enhanced nutrient solution and the Yang Chen Mou from the locker. The robot waved goodbye to Chen Mou and staggered away. Nutrient solution, is this delicious? Xiaobei touched his chin and thought. A vigilant look flashed in Chen Mou's eyes. This enhanced nutrient solution costs 6,000 yuan per bottle. It's okay if you drink 1 bottle a day, but if you drink 1 bottle for each of the 3 meals a day, I can't afford to support you. Try drinking a bottle. Chen Mou opened one of the boxes, took out a bottle and handed it over. Don't drink it all in one breath, drink it several times. Chen Mou reminded again. It's not that he is reluctant to spend money, but the energy contained in the enhanced nutrient solution is too fierce. Xiaobei only eats less than 1,000 yuan of food in one meal, and a bottle of this nutrient solution costs 6,000. Although the food and nutrient solution exist in different forms and cannot be directly compared, it can also be seen that the enhanced nutrient solution is overbearing. Chen Mou was worried that Xiaobei would not be able to withstand the sudden energy impact. Xiaobei nodded, indicating that he understood, then opened the bottle and drank half of it. P.S. Thanks to the monthly ticket of the Haiyan Reading Friends. Chapter 166 No Right to Speak. Xiaobei drank half a bottle, his eyes narrowed slightly, and he looked satisfied. This is quite delicious. Half an hour later, Xiaobei drank the remaining half bottle. It's really delicious, I'll drink more in the future. Xiaobei stared at the remaining 3 boxes of nutrient solution. Dad's things, then they are my things. It was almost noon now. Chen Mou took Xiaobei's hand and ran to the cafeteria. Xiaobei excitedly ordered more than 10 dishes, ready to feast. But as soon as he picked up the chopsticks, Xiaobei frowned. It seems a little full. Xiaobei picked up the chopsticks and picked up a few pieces of spirit beast meat and ate them. I'm so full, I don't want to eat any more. But this meat smells so good. Dad, what's wrong? I'm sick. Xiaobei looked panicked. He wanted to eat, but he couldn't eat. You just finished drinking the nutrient solution, it's normal to be full. Chen Mou was not worried at all. Then Xiaobei watched Chen Mou's performance. This is delicious. Chen Mou picked up a chopstick and chewed. This is also very fragrant. This spirit beast meat is good for the body. Chen Mou ate happily. Xiaobei. I am so miserable, so pitiful. We are done, let's go. Chen Mou ate all the more than 10 dishes. Although he could not eat so much with his usual appetite, he insisted on finishing them in the principle of not wasting. Xiaobei followed Chen Mou back to the dormitory reluctantly. Chen Mou did not go to the training room or the virtual battlefield this afternoon, but stayed in the dormitory to play with Xiaobei for a while, and practiced sea swallow art in the dormitory. Chen Mou took out a bottle of enhanced nutrient solution and gulped it down. Sea swallow art was running wildly, the energy was vibrating, and a stream of life essence in the nutrient solution was absorbed by Chen Mou's body. This enhanced nutrient solution is really good. Although the price is 3 times that of the ordinary nutrient solution, the efficacy may be 4 or 5 times. But the effect is also very overbearing. Generally, students who have just entered the beginner level find it difficult to digest, so most of the students in Yonghui High School drink the ordinary nutrient solution. After Chen Mou digested the enhanced nutrient solution, he felt very energetic. Dad, it's time for dinner. Xiaobei jumped up. She felt that after an afternoon of digestion, she must have an appetite now. It's time to have a big meal again. In the Xinghu cafeteria, Xiaobei held chopsticks with a little confusion in her eyes. Why can't I eat it? Why can Dad eat it again? Faced with a table full of sumptuous dishes, Xiaobei still had no appetite and stopped after eating a few bites. Chen Mou on the side ate one bite after another. Didn't Dad drink the nutrient solution in the afternoon? Xiaobei was puzzled. Do you want to eat? Chen Mou looked at Xiaobei. If you don't, I'll eat it all. Xiaobei nodded, then shook his head. No. Watching Chen Mou finish the dishes on the table bite by bite, Xiaobei burst into tears. I will never drink nutrient solution again. Time passed, and it was the end of November in a blink of an eye. Chen Mou was immersed in practice every day. During the day, he would exercise his body in the training room, or temper his spirit in the virtual battlefield. Even after falling asleep at night, due to the influence of Xiaobei's strange characteristics, Chen Mou's strength was gradually improving. Others practiced and attended classes during the day, and rested at night. Chen Mou practiced during the day and at night, and his efficiency was far ahead of others. In the virtual battlefield, Chen Mou's rank was promoted to silver, and it was silver 1. He successfully transformed into a silver god. Report to the boss, Chen Mou has been promoted to silver 1, and is now in the ranking, but I haven't been in the queue for a long time. I guess there are not many people now. In the martial arts club, Zhou Daowen's younger brother was reporting the news to him. Are you sure? Don't make me go for nothing again. Zhou Daowen remembered that a few days ago, his younger brother reported to him that Chen Mou had been promoted to the silver rank. So he went to snipe Chen Mou excitedly. But the two of them could never rank together. Even if Zhou Daowen picked the right time and clicked the ranking button with Chen Mou. Later, Zhou Daowen found out that Chen Mou was silver 5, and he was silver 1. Chen Mou, you're done. Zhou Daowen showed a cold smile. In the virtual battlefield, if you are killed, the real body will not die, but will be seriously injured and need a long time to recuperate. Zhou Daowen wanted to interrupt Chen Mou's path to promotion. If you want to blame, just blame yourself for being Chen Kai's friend. He is just a small scoundrel from the bottom, but he has been in the limelight recently and is hailed as the number 1 among the freshmen. You don't deserve this title. Chen Mou is training in a training scene in the virtual battlefield. In the virtual battlefield, various real-life situations can be simulated, such as volcanic eruptions, tsunamis, earthquakes, polar glaciers, etc. If you are promoted to a higher level, you can also unlock the outer space combat scene. It can also be regarded as a small preparation in advance for the future battle with Qingyang domain. At this moment, the ranking system he was hanging lit up, and Chen Mou was directly transferred to another scene. The scene drawn in this ranking is the glacier land. Looking around, it is a white scene. Stretching for thousands of miles, ice and snow are everywhere. Chen Mou. The man who came was tall, sunny and handsome, with a handsome face. It's me. Chen Mou felt that the other party seemed to be somewhat hostile. Those who come with bad intentions will not come with good intentions. Zhou Daowen. The man opposite showed a playful smile on his face. Chen Mou understood, so it's you. Zhou Daowen said, I have heard a little about your deeds. That day at the gate of Xinghua, you made a bold statement to promote the country's prestige far and wide, and also attracted Lin Sixchen to look at you with new eyes. Haha, it's really good. Chen Mou said, I also feel that I am very good. Zhou Daowen choked for a moment. Chen Mou's words caught him off guard. You don't know what you are doing, right? For someone from a family like you, it's really good to have achieved what you have today, but don't be blindly arrogant. Zhou Daowen advised. What's wrong with my family? Do you have to be so blunt? We, the children of aristocratic families, usually drive sports cars and go in and out of high-end places. You don't even have a car, you still walk. If you walk, you have no right to speak in front of us. Chen Mou. I was deprived of the right to speak? You are the one who keeps nagging. Let's fight quickly. Chen Mou was a little impatient. This game would not last too long. Let's make a quick decision. We still have to catch up with the second half. Zhou Daowen laughed in his heart. It seemed that he had touched Chen Mou's sore spot. Chen Mou was indeed quite capable now. But without the support of his family, it was difficult for him to obtain cultivation resources. He would probably only be able to cultivate to the high level of Miracle Master. After graduation, others continued to advance with the family resources, but Chen Mou had to work in a company. How could he concentrate on cultivation when he was entangled with trivial matters? This was the sadness of an ordinary family. Chapter 167 Boss, check the forum. At this time, some students in the virtual battlefield received a system push. System notification, a battle is about to start in the silver rank. The quality of this game is high. Do you want to watch it? Confirm cancel. Students gradually entered the viewing room, but not many, only a dozen people. The scene of the day when Chen Mou and Su Dao fought was incomparable. Zhou Daowen stood on the glacier, posing a fighting posture, staring at Chen Mou. That day, I used these two fists to directly break Chen Kai's bones. It was a snap, it must have hurt. He wanted to resist, but he didn't have the strength. It's really pitiful. Chen Mou exuded a cold breath. Are you done? I'm a little angry. Black air currents wrapped around his body, and then gradually condensed and turned into magic armor. Chen Mou's whole body was wrapped in it, leaving only a pair of eyes. Although this is a virtual world, it can still condense magic armor, which is not much different from the real world. Zhou Daowen stopped talking. A stream of black air gathered in his hand and turned into a long knife. It was with this knife that he had injured Chen Kai that day. Zhou Dayan stepped on the glacier and his body changed continuously. With a buzzing sound, his body tore through the air and formed a dozen afterimages. Real and fake. His real body was hidden in the many afterimages. Zhou Dayan is so fast. The audience was amazed. This is his ultimate move. It's not just a matter of speed. He also uses light, miracle power, mental interference, and other means to make it impossible to find his real body, and it's hard to defend against. These clones are not his real body, or they are all his real body. Chen Mou used the magic armor, and Zhou Dayan's first move was a fatal move. Both of them are so cruel. Are they not going to test it and want to fight quickly? Shadows and knife shadows filled the sky, approaching Chen Mou. Killing intent was chilling. Can Chen Mou find his real body? The audience's heart tightened, as if they were the ones facing Zhou Dayan on the field. A dozen afterimages began to close in, and the encirclement became smaller and smaller. It was too late. Chen Mou had no way to escape. Zhou Dayan's eyes revealed sarcasm. You are too young to play with me. Sparks flew, and the black long sword collided with the magic armor. Beyond everyone's expectations. Chen Mou just stood there, not dodging or evading. The dozen people who were watching the battle were so shocked that they almost jumped up. Inhuman. Chen Mou directly used the magic armor to resist the long sword, without any damage. Zhou Dayan was also a little bit unbelievable. He felt that things seemed to be out of control. Although Zhou Dayan did not watch the battle between Chen Mou and Su Dao that day, he had also watched the video. This man should not be so strong. Zhou Dayan changed his moves again, thunder exploded, the black long sword whirred, and the killing style was endless. The power increased by another 3 points. In the endless sword shadows, Chen Mou stood tall. He was a towering mountain, and no matter howling cold winds or heavy rains, he could not be shaken at all. Your mouth is invincible, but unfortunately, your actions are a little weak. Chen Mou, who was covered by the magic armor, spoke in a hoarse voice, as if he was the devil from hell. This is impossible. Zhou Dayan's eyes flashed with disbelief. How could this little jerk be so strong? He should still be in the middle stage of the miracle apprentice. Could he have broken through again? Even if he broke through, he couldn't be stronger than me. I have already entered the high stage. Zhou Dayan swung his sword again. The murderous aura was like a tide, and the sword intent cut through the sky. But Chen Mou suddenly reached out and held the black long sword. With a magic armor, Chen Mou is an invincible god of war. This is absolute defense. Have you had enough fun? Chen Mou raised his other hand and waved it, slapping Zhou Dayan away like a fly. Zhou Dayan rolled and crashed into a large piece of glacier, looking a little embarrassed. The corners of the eyes of the people watching the battle twitched. Is this person who was beaten up really Zhou Dayan? Are we old and blurry and have we recognized the wrong person? It's not a battle of equal strength at all. Too cruel, almost crushing. Zhou Dayan lay on the glacier, feeling bone-chilling cold. Colder than the glacier was his heart. This is impossible. Will I lose to this poor boy? But Zhou Dayan didn't have time to think too much, because Chen Mou came again. The figure covered with magic armor was like a god of war descending from the sky. A punch fell on Zhou Dayan's face. Zhou Dayan's head sank completely. With the head as the center, the power surged, and the glacier cracked, forming a dense spider web. Zhou Dayan's brain was concussed, and he spit out a mouthful of blood. Chen Mou kicked Zhou Dayan in the waist, causing him to rise into the air. Then a big hand formed by the condensation of black air slapped down fiercely in the air. Zhou Dayan, who was floating in the air, was knocked down again, and his body was directly embedded in the glacier. Chen Mou flashed, rushed to the front, and stepped to the side. Zhou Dayan's body was shaken up, and Chen Mou kicked again. Floating in the air again. Chen Mou also jumped up, with his martial arts killing style being endless, and his fist spirit running through the ancient and modern times. Zhou Dayan's body continued to float in the air after continuous hitting. The audience had countless wow in their hearts. This is a combo. Are you playing an arcade game? Stop hating, or you'll make me stupid. As if hearing the audience's call, Chen Mou's breath rose again, and he punched in the air, hitting the final killing move. Game over. Zhou Dayan's figure gradually dissipated, and the system declared that Chen Mou had won. In the simulation room, Zhou Dayan was directly knocked offline from the virtual battlefield. His whole body crackled, and his skin cracked, and blood oozed violently. Cracks appeared on his bones. His internal organs were torn and shaken. If you don't take revenge for this, you are not a gentleman. Chen Mou, I will remember you. Zhou Dayan coughed up blood. This injury will not heal without more than a month of recuperation. Wasting a month of time is something Zhou Dayan can't stand. Others are gradually improving. After a month, can he still be ranked 15th on the Xia Xinghua list? Or it can be said that he is no longer ranked 15th now, and has been replaced by Chen Mou. Zhou Dayan returned to the martial arts club with a gloomy face, took out a pill and ate it. Not long after, the younger brother ran over. Report to the boss, check the forum quickly. What's going on? Zhou Dayan vaguely felt that it would not be a good thing. Boss, check it yourself. The younger brother was a little embarrassed and handed over a mobile phone. Zhou Dayan opened the forum of Xinghua Academy, flipped through it a few times, and soon found the relevant content. Shocked, the arcade bully Zhou Dayan was beaten up in public. This is a video post. Someone uploaded his battle with Chen Mou to the forum. When the video was opened, Zhou Dayan was as imposing as a dragon, his body shape changed, and more than a dozen clones formed a killing momentum. But before he could show off for long, Chen Mou's counterattack began. One punch and one kick, an unsolvable combo. It was just a joke. Who the hell is so wicked to upload this video? Zhou Dayan was so angry the veins on his forehead were throbbing, and he threw his phone hard. The younger brother was dumbfounded. Boss, this is my phone. Chapter 168 I'm not afraid of you. As soon as Chen Mou arrived in the classroom, all the students stared at him in surprise. Some shouted, Chen Mou, you actually came to class today. Chen Mou did not answer, but just shook his head. Teacher Zhang, who was in charge of teaching the mecha course, also saw this scene, pretending to be calm, but could not hide his joy. Chen Mou chose to skip classes taught by other teachers, but he came to my class. What does this show? My level is much higher than that of you teachers. Lin Chuanzuo walked closer with surprise. Chen Mou, you have turned over a new leaf? Congratulations. Chen Mou's face twitched. What does it mean to turn over a new leaf? No, I am more interested in mecha knowledge and want to study it. Chen Mou replied. Then he added in his mind, I am also more interested in money. That's right, Chen Mou's idea is to research the improvement measures of mecha and then sell the results. And if I can research it, the level of mecha in Huaki country should be able to be greatly improved. Thinking of this, money no longer exudes the smell of a copper, but carries the glory of patriotism. It's great to think about it. No matter what, Lin Chuanzuo is still very happy that Chen Mou can come to class. It's not time for class yet, and the two of them got together and chatted. A series of slightly jealous eyes shot at Chen Mou like arrows. Lin Chuanzuo is a beautiful girl at the top of the school. They go to class together every day, but their relationship has not made any progress. How come Chen Mou, who has been skipping classes, has a good relationship with Lin Chuanzuo? Among them, Su Yunitun was the most unhappy. He was slapped in the face by Chen Mou in the first class. He wanted to pursue Lin Chuanzuo, but she ignored him. College life is really not beautiful at all. Su Yunitun cursed in his heart. Huh, Chen Mou, maybe you were a genius before, but you skip classes every day. How much knowledge do you have left? We are all making progress, but you are standing still. What's wrong with the top scorer in the written test? I'm not afraid of you. The class bell rang. Okay, class time is up. Everyone put on protective clothing. Teacher Zhang led everyone to visit and study. It's called a classroom, but it's actually a laboratory, covering a large area. There is actually a complete mecha production line here. The production of mecha is a very precise process, and the assembly line is dust-free. In order to prevent students from affecting it, everyone has to wear protective clothing. Teacher Zhang took everyone to watch the complete process, from the manufacture of various parts to assembly, energy module construction, code injection, etc. This is the mecha production line that Xinghua Academy has invested heavily in cooperating with a mecha company. When this production line was initially built, it took a lot of effort, but the results are also amazing. It can produce 100 Class B mechas every day. Teacher Zhang introduced slowly. Many students were shocked. 100 units, based on the selling price of 10 million per unit, that is 1 billion. In a year, that is more than 300 billion. Of course, this is sales, not profit. It is necessary to deduct many cost factors such as parts cost, labor cost, and sales link cost. Moreover, Tsinghua Academy cooperated with several companies in research and development, and only has a partial share. But it is also amazing enough. Tsinghua Academy is really rich. Teacher Zhang walked and stopped, explaining the relevant knowledge points to the students. Chen Mou nodded from time to time, and seemed to be listening very seriously. Teacher Zhang saw the scene from the corner of his eye, and couldn't help but nod secretly. Well, the young man is teachable. Okay, you can take off the protective clothing. Teacher Zhang led the students out of the assembly line and into another large laboratory. There were dozens of B-class mechas scattered here. But after careful observation, it can be found that these mechas are damaged to varying degrees. Teacher Zhang pointed at these mechas and said, mecha repair is also an important part of learning. In the future, when you drive mechas to fight, if you are attacked and the mecha is damaged, as long as you can repair it in time, it will naturally greatly increase the success rate of the mission. Even in a critical moment, this skill can save your life. I have talked about this content many times in the previous class, but this is the first time to do it in practice. Today, let you try it yourself. Su Yunlin was delighted. I have spent a lot of hard work in this regard. He looked at Chen Mou proudly. This kid doesn't go to class every day, so he probably knows nothing about this. And I heard that Chen Mou's family is quite poor, and he probably has never had contact with B-class mecha before. Chen Mou glanced at him, a little puzzled. Why are you looking at me? Chen Mou, I want to challenge you. Do you dare to accept? Let's compete in mecha repair. Are you sure? Of course. Do you dare? You are not afraid. Su Yunlin smiled proudly, and he must perform well today. What is there to be afraid of? I know more about mecha than you. Chen Mou didn't care about it. That kind of ignoring attitude directly angered Su Yunlin. Su Yunlin took a deep breath and said, since it is a challenge, of course there must be some bets. If you lose, you will learn to bark like a dog in front of the whole class. If I lose, the same will apply. Do you dare? The students in class 5 took a breath of cold air when they heard this. The bet is so big. But we like it. Everyone was refreshed and looked at Chen Mou, wanting to see if he agreed. If you learn to bark like a dog, will you be able to hold your head up in the class in the future? Although Chen Mou is strong, he is not very good at mecha repair. I have never seen him come to class. I am afraid he is not very good at it. This challenge is indeed not good for Chen Mou. If Chen Mou refuses, everyone will not be surprised. Lin Chuanzuo is not very worried. Chen Mou seems to know a lot about mecha. However, there is a lot of knowledge about mecha. Chen Mou is good at energy shields, and it is unknown how good he is in repair. Is there anyone who is rushing to humiliate himself? I, Chen Mou, accept this challenge. Chen Mou's performance was simply arrogant. He did not regard Su Yunlin as an opponent at all. The students of class 5 could not help but be surprised. Is Chen Mou really so sure? He should not be able to come into contact with B-class mecha in high school. Does he think he has mastered the knowledge completely after reading a few books? Although Su Yunlin has never carried out actual repairs, he has a B-class mecha at home, and the teacher has taught many related courses in class. Teacher Zhang remained silent the whole time, watching the students' performance quietly. Seeing this, he coughed and said, if you want to compete, you can. The two B-class mechas in front are damaged to a similar degree. You go and repair them. Time the repair process. If someone repairs it successfully and someone fails, the student who repairs it successfully wins. If neither succeeds, the degree of completion of the repair will be used to judge, and the student with the higher degree of completion will win. If both have completed the repair, the time will be compared, and the student who takes the shorter time will win. Do you have any objections? Chen Mou and Su Yunlin both shook their heads. This way of competition was indeed fair and there was nothing to object to. Chapter 169, that's it? There were many damaged mechas in the laboratory. Chen Mou and Su Yunlin each chose a mecha to repair. During the evaluation, the damage degree of these two mechas was 10%, which was quite close. 10% is considered a relatively minor damage and can be repaired manually. If the damage degree is higher, it must be returned to the factory. Some of the damage is too serious and directly enter the scrap process. Because the repair cost is too high, it is not worth it. It is better to produce a new one directly. You first. Chen Mou stretched out his hand and made a pleased gesture. Su Yunlin was stunned. Aren't you going to start with me? Chen Mou waved his hand. I'm afraid of causing psychological pressure on you. Damn, Su Yunlin gritted his teeth. This kid is really crazy. What do you mean by afraid of causing psychological pressure on me? Translated, Chen Mou is worried that his repair progress is too fast, which will directly make Su Yunlin lose his fighting spirit. Humph, just continue to be arrogant. Su Yunlin stepped forward and prepared to carry out the repair procedure. This Chen Mou is too arrogant and is still worried that I am under pressure. When I finish the repair, you will be the one who will feel the pressure. Su Yunlin thought so and felt that it was not bad for him to take the initiative. As for Chen Mou's words, Su Yunlin ignored them directly. This kid wanted to use this kind of rhetoric to make me feel psychologically pressured. How could I be fooled by you? Seeing Su Yunlin coming forward, Teacher Zhang took out his mobile phone and started counting. Chen Mou turned his back and did not observe Su Yunlin's repair process, otherwise he would be suspected of violating the principle of fairness. The classmates in the class closely watched Su Yunlin's actions, and also secretly observed Chen Mou. Chen Mou looked calm and calm. Is he really so sure? Su Yunlin usually likes to show off a little, but his strength in theory is also obvious to all, and his grades can be ranked among the top in the class. Basically, no one dares to say that he is better than Su Yunlin in this regard. Chen Mou is the top scorer in the written test, and he must be very strong in theory, but that was in high school after all. In college, there are also college knowledge to learn. You can't rely on high school knowledge. Chen Mou seldom comes to class, so his chances of winning are slim. It's not that he skips classes or is not diligent, but he seems to have spent all his time practicing, so he must have fallen behind in this area. I don't think Chen Mou is a good person. His confident look must be a tactic to make Su Yunlin confused before the battle. In fact, Chen Mou is not absolutely sure. I think Chen Mou must have a trump card. How can you guess the strength of the top scorer in the written test? Su Yunlin has been in front for a minute, but he still hasn't started to repair it. Instead, he is observing it carefully. This move seems to be a waste of time, but many students nodded secretly. The first step in repairing is to observe. Many seemingly simple faults can be repaired in a few seconds, but when you really start it, you will find that the mecha still has problems. This is the consequence of not observing carefully. Although some problems have been solved, there are still many subtle aspects that have not been repaired. Many old masters have to use instruments to detect the problem because the structure of the mecha is very complicated. Not to mention these students who have little experience. After observing for a while, Su Yunlin picked up a scanner from the toolbox and used it to conduct inspection. At the same time, Su Yunlin occasionally took some parts needed for repair from the parts area. His rhythm was very stable and orderly. Although most people did not approach and did not have a scanner, they could not specifically determine the problem, but they were surprised to see Su Yunlin's experienced operation. Has he practiced in advance? I feel that he has disassembled his own B-class mecha, studied the structure, and maybe asked experts for guidance. Now Chen Mou's situation is even less optimistic. A student shook his head inside. Su Yunlin was too stable. Although he encountered problems and paused to think, he cracked it in a short time. 10 minutes later, Chen Mou suddenly spoke. Su Yunlin, are you done? Chen Mou had his back to Su Yunlin, so he could not see his progress. Almost. Su Yunlin replied, his hands were busy all the time. 15 minutes later. Su Yunlin, are you done? Almost done, don't worry. Su Yunlin was still busy. 20 minutes later. Hurry up, Su Yunlin, don't dawdle. Damn it, report to the teacher, Chen Mou keeps disturbing me. Su Yunlin was very annoyed. Teacher Zhang coughed, Su Yunlin, pay attention to your manners and don't say bad words. Chen Mou, be careful not to disturb your classmates. Yes. Chen Mou closed his mouth and stood with his back to Su Yunlin, looking bored. I'm finally done. Su Yunlin's surprised voice came. Teacher Zhang also pressed the stop button of the mobile phone timing software. 23 minutes and 17 seconds. This result is very good. Teacher Zhang praised. Many students were also shocked. Repairing mechas is a very complicated thing. If you don't understand it, you may not be able to repair one in a whole day. Su Yunlin was able to complete it in just 23 minutes, which is very amazing. Su Yunlin himself was also slightly satisfied. He had an understanding of his level. This time he was able to complete it in such a short time, which was considered an above-level performance. It seems that competition can really inspire people's potential. Teacher Zhang went forward to check it out, and then started the mecha. The self-check program of the B-class mecha started, and many inspection items were scanned. The fault has been eliminated, and Su Yunlin has completed the repair. Teacher Zhang announced. This undoubtedly proves Su Yun's strength. Not only did he complete it quickly, but he also really eliminated the problem. If you only pursue speed, but leave a lot of small problems, you will definitely lose some points. Everyone looked at Chen Mou. Will Chen Mou feel pressured by this result? Wang Jun's eyes showed worry. He is very strong in theory. He usually ranks among the top in the class, even better than Su Yun. But this time Su Yun played too well, and it was an extraordinary performance. Wang Jun felt that he would inevitably lose if he went up. As a roommate, Wang Jun certainly sided with Chen Mou, but in this situation, he couldn't help much. He could only pray that Chen Mou really had the strength. Chen Mou touched his chin, his eyes showing a thoughtful look. 23 minutes, that's it. With such strength, how can you have the courage to challenge me? Su Yun was feeling proud, but when he heard Chen Mou's words, he was immediately furious. This guy didn't have much ability, but he was quite good at arguing with people. Please. Su Yun suppressed his anger and made a gesture of invitation with full gentlemanly demeanor. Okay. Chen Mou stepped forward. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 170. It's cold. Chen Mou walked to another mecha, took a look, scanned it a few times, and then went to get the parts. Su Yun stared at Chen Mou's movements. This process is similar to mine. I thought you were amazing. And you walk so slowly, aren't you afraid of wasting time? In the sight of everyone, Chen Mou walked slowly to the parts area, without any sense of urgency. Su Yun successfully repaired the mecha. If Chen Mou wanted to win, he had to repair it as well, and in a shorter time than Su Yun. But Su Yun soon felt that something was wrong. Chen Mou brought a big box with a lot of parts and brought it back with a grunt. You brought all the parts back. Su Yun's eyes widened. Why didn't I think of this trick? I ran several times on the way to get the parts as the repair process progressed. This just wasted a little time. I'm really stupid, really. No, these are all the parts I need. Chen Mou responded. Just brag. Su Yun sneered. Take a look, then use the scanner to click a few times. In less than 10 seconds, you can determine what parts are needed. He thinks that Chen Mou must be awarded a certificate of king of bullshit. Chen Mou ignored him. The miracle power was running, and the parts floated in the air. The damaged parts of the mecha were disassembled and then filled with new parts. This process sounds simple, but in fact, the mecha is a very delicate thing, and there are too many things to consider and control. Just like an ordinary person, it is difficult for you to ask him to disassemble his laptop to clean the dust. And mecha maintenance is more than 1,000 times more difficult than cleaning the dust of a computer. The miracle power is like spider silk, controlling the direction of the parts. Intertwined, but not messy at all. The friends were all stunned. There are at least hundreds of parts floating in the air. Controlling more than 100 parts at the same time, this kind of mental power is too terrifying. The strength and accuracy must reach an astonishing level. The key is that the whole process is orderly, removing steel plates, installing parts, tightening screws, controlling wiring, etc. With a click, Chen Mou installed a protective shell on the outside of the mecha. Teacher, I finished. Teacher Zhang was also stunned. So fast? The time is 8 minutes and 12 seconds. Teacher Zhang looked at the time. The whole audience was shocked. This speed is against the sky. Not only did he set a record among the students in the school, but he was not weaker than those full-time maintenance personnel. Maybe even stronger. After all, many maintenance personnel do not have the mental strength and miracle power of Chen Mou. This is impossible. Su Yun's lips trembled, and he couldn't believe the scene in front of him. All the parts brought by Chen Mou happened to be used up. How could he be so accurate? No, speed is not a skill, it depends on whether you have completely repaired it. Su Yun's eyes regained a little light. That's right, you repaired it so quickly, and you didn't check it at all. There must be mistakes. If Chen Mou didn't completely repair the mecha, even if the speed was faster than Su Yun, the final winner would still be Su Yun. Everyone thought of this and their hearts tightened. The winner has not yet been decided. Can Chen Mou win? There's still so much time left, why didn't he check it? The inside of the mecha is very complicated, and a small mistake may cause problems. Chen Mou just glanced at it and started to repair it. Is he too confident? Looking at Chen Mou's confident look, Suyunitun is probably going to lose. Teacher Zhang stepped forward, started the mecha, and the self-check procedure began. Self-check progress. 10%, 20%, 50%, 90%. Suyunitun widened his eyes and prayed in his heart, report the error quickly, report the error quickly. But the progress bar continued to move forward. 95%, 99%, 100%. It's over. Suyunitun lost all his strength at once. The self-check passed, and Chen Mou successfully repaired it. Teacher Zhang announced the result. The winner of this competition is Chen Mou. How is it? Chen Mou looked at Suyunitun with a half-smile. The whole class was cheered up. Next, it was the exciting part of fulfilling the bet. It's time to learn to bark like a dog. Suyunitun's face turned pale and blue, and his fists were clenched tightly. What? Are you going to default on your debt? Suyunitun remained silent. The scene fell into a strange silence. Chen Mou laughed. Forget it, let it be. Chen Mou didn't intend to argue with him. If he wanted to default on his debt, then let him do it. When it's time to be tolerant, you can be tolerant, there's no need to hold on to it. Of course, this is also because Suyunitun didn't infringe on Chen Mou's interests. In Chen Mou's view, this is just a joke between classmates. But if someone dares to infringe on his interests, he must hit hard and hit back hard. Tolerance will only make the other party worse. Repay grievances with virtue. How to repay virtue? Repay grievances with justice. This is Chen Mou's value. Lin Chuanzhuo's eyes flashed, and he didn't expect Chen Mou to let Suyunitun go so easily. No wonder my sister said that he has the courage and spirit to swallow the world. Lin Chuanzhuo felt that his understanding of Chen Mou had deepened. Others in the class also showed surprise. Although they didn't get to see the good show, this result was actually acceptable. No one insisted on listening to Suyunitun's dog barking. But Suyunitun was embarrassed today. Woof woof woof. Just when everyone thought the dust had settled, a dog barked. Suyunitun finally fulfilled his promise. After learning to bark, his face turned red, he didn't go to class, and rushed out of the laboratory. This guy still has some backbone. Chen Mou was a little surprised. In his heart, he raised Suyunitun's status from worse than trash to the same level as trash. His status was greatly improved. Okay, everyone choose a mecha to practice. Teacher Zhang was not surprised by this and asked all the students to start learning. With his many years of experience, what storms has he not seen? This is nothing. Chen Mou has already repaired the mecha, so there is no need to continue learning. Teacher Zhang, if I want to study mecha, can the school provide a laboratory? Chen Mou came to Teacher Zhang to ask for advice. That's possible. Every student at Xinghua Academy can apply for a laboratory equipped with a Class B mecha for you to conduct experiments. Some basic codes will also be provided. But the most core part of the code is encrypted. You can only use it and can't see the specific content. After all, it's a trade secret. And be careful not to damage the mecha during the experiment, otherwise the school will demand compensation. Teacher Zhang has a good impression of Chen Mou. This student is capable and tolerant. He will definitely not be an ordinary person in the future. Chapter 171 Keep your youth. If you want to use the laboratory, you need to fill out an application, submit it to the school, and wait for approval. But since you asked me today, the approval process is waived. You can use it directly after filling out the application form. Teacher Zhang said. Chen Mou was delighted. Thank you very much, teacher. Filling out the application form is not a big deal. The key is the approval process, which is sometimes slow. After all, it involves a laboratory and a mecha worth tens of millions. Teacher Zhang exempted himself from the approval process, saving Chen Mou a lot of time. After class, Chen Mou filled out the application form and obtained the right to use a laboratory for 2 months. After 2 months, if he still needs to use it, he will have to fill out the renewal application form. 2 months should be enough. Chen Mou did not intend to spend too much energy on this. 2 months was the limit he could accept. He first tested the operation of the B-class mecha energy shield, the combat mode of the mecha, and so on. The energy shield is not efficient enough. The energy supply module of the B-class mecha does not use energy such as oil or ordinary batteries, but an energy block called purple jade block. The purple jade block is purple all over, can store electrical energy, has a very high energy density, and has the advantages of high energy conversion efficiency, fast charging, and stable energy storage. It can be regarded as a super improved version of the conventional power supply. After the purple jade block in the B-class mecha is filled, the mecha will cruise at a speed of 100 km per hour for 3 days and 3 nights without running out of power. However, once the energy shield is turned on, the energy consumption of the B-class mecha will be greatly increased. Perhaps after 1 or 2 battles, the mecha will fall into a state of energy emergency. This mecha is very problematic in terms of sustained combat. Therefore, it is very necessary to improve the operation of the energy shield. The automatic combat mode of this mecha feels so-so. Chen Mou found another problem. Under automatic control, this mecha has not reached a level that satisfies Chen Mou in terms of enemy evasion, martial arts fighting, laser shooting, etc. Mecha generally needs professional personnel to operate to exert its maximum power. Why? Because the automatic combat mode is not as powerful as human control. But if each mecha is equipped with a human operator, the labor cost will increase. And if it is used in combat, it is not realistic to plan a mecha suicide attack. Isn't this sending people to their deaths? In addition, there are many situations that require the use of automatic combat control mode. For example, when Xinghua Academy sent a mecha into the Black Forest to search for Chen Mou's traces, it used automatic control. If there is time, this can also be improved. Chen Mou began to browse the mecha code. It's a bit dizzy to look at it. Chen Mou's grades are very good. He studied the code in high school. In addition, he has future memories, so his level is very good. With his strength, he can guide Lin Yun and this little hacker. But facing this pile of dense things, Chen Mou still can't stand it. The lighthouse of the Sea of Consciousness turned, and the light bloomed. Chen Mou was in high spirits, and his browsing speed increased rapidly. He concentrated and studied until the evening. Seeing that it was getting late, Chen Mou returned to the dormitory and pulled Xiaobei out for a meal. "Dad, can you play with me tonight?" After eating, Xiaobei said in a baby voice. "But I still have to go to the laboratory to study some problems. I'll take you back to the dormitory first." Chen Mou was a little entangled. "Then I'll go to the laboratory too." Xiaobei grabbed Chen Mou's hand and shook it. "Well, okay then." Chen Mou thought about it. He really hadn't been with Xiaobei much recently. He was not going to practice, but just studying the code. He should be able to take care of Xiaobei with him. Entering the laboratory, Xiaobei looked excited and curious. His 2 wide and tender legs turned around like windmills, running around, looking left and right. "Dad, this guy is so big." Xiaobei stared at the B-class mecha in the center of the laboratory. This mecha is 2 or 3 meters high, and the mechanical lines have a kind of tough and sharp feeling of metal. If people in the past era had the goal of having a house and a car, then the goal now has become to have a house and a mecha. The cruising speed of this B-class mecha is not slower than that of a car, and in terms of combat power, it is even better than a car. However, the price of a Class B mecha is tens of millions, and the cheaper Class C mecha costs millions, which is unaffordable for many families. The money to buy a mecha can buy a house in 3rd and 4th tier cities. Moreover, with the development of technology, the performance of cars has increased, but the price has dropped. You can buy a very good car for 100,000 yuan. What's more troublesome is that mechas are highly destructive, so the state has strict control in this regard, and they must be strictly registered before they can be purchased. In general, the cost-effectiveness of buying a car is much higher than that of buying a mecha, both in terms of price and convenience. But these still can't stop people's enthusiasm for mechas. After all, mechas are men's romance. Xiaobei jumped and climbed to the top of the mecha and sat there. "Dad, take a picture for me." Xiaobei stretched out his hand and made a victory gesture, with a bright smile on his crystal-clear little face. Chen Mou was shocked. Such a high mecha, Xiaobei climbed up. The key is that the action was too fast, and he was a little distracted and didn't really notice it. Xiaobei is indeed not simple. "Dad, hurry up," Xiaobei urged. Okay. Chen Mou took out his cell phone and took a few photos of Xiaobei from different angles. Okay, Xiaobei jumped off the mecha and took the phone impatiently. "Wow, I'm so cute." Xiaobei swiped the photos on the phone. Chen Mou was a straight man among straight men, and his photography skills were indeed average, but Xiaobei seemed very satisfied and nodded repeatedly. Chen Mou also felt a warm feeling in his heart. At this moment, Xiaobei was the person closest to him. "Dad, let's take another group photo." Xiaobei suggested. Group photo. Chen Mou scratched his head. There was no one else here. Who should take a group photo for them? After thinking about it, Chen Mou controlled the mecha, held the phone with his armored palm, and raised it high. Chen Mou and Xiaobei stood in front of the mecha. With a click, a group photo was freshly baked. Not bad. Chen Mou was quite satisfied with this photo. Although he now remembered that he could use miracle power to control the phone, the effect of taking a photo like this seemed to be better. Xiaobei held the phone in her hand, looking at the photo of Chen Mou and herself holding hands, and smiled with narrowed eyes. Dad, we have retained our youth. Chen Mou smiled slightly. What a silly daughter, I don't know where she learned this sentence from. Youth can never be retained. Maybe I will be able to maintain my current appearance and never age in the future, but can I maintain my youthful mentality at this moment? But no matter what, I was young at this moment. Chapter 172 Letter from Chu Xiaoxi. In the laboratory. Chen Mou was browsing the mecha code. Although the court part was not open to Chen Mou, it was almost enough. Chen Mou also tried to bypass the restrictions and cracked a part. His current programming level is one of the best in the entire Ziggy Star. These codes don't seem to be very efficient. Chen Mou felt that there was still room for optimization. But this is not a big problem. The current processor has strong computing power. Even if the code is not particularly efficient, the impact is not great. The key lies in the improvement of the operation mode of the mecha energy shield. Just browsing the code, before debugging, has taken Chen Mou most of the day. And he hasn't finished it yet. In addition, Chen Mou also has to browse the structure diagram of the mecha. One picture after another is dazzling. Xiaobei moved a chair over, leaned next to Chen Mou, and also stared at it intently. Xiaobei, do you understand it? Chen Mou found that Xiaobei looked very serious, and couldn't help but reach out and touch her little head. Xiaobei shook his head and said honestly, I don't understand. Chen Mou, you're looking at it very seriously, you've been staring at it for half an hour. Here, I'll give you the phone, you can play with it, but children can't play with it for too long, otherwise it will affect their vision development. Chen Mou took out his phone, Xiaobei happily took it and started playing. Time passed, and soon it was late at night. Xiaobei yawned, put down the phone, tilted his head, leaned on Chen Mou, and breathed evenly. Chen Mou suddenly realized, it's so late. Forget it, let's continue tomorrow. He picked up Xiaobei carefully and walked towards the dormitory. A gust of cold wind blew, which cheered Chen Mou up. After thinking about it, Chen Mou activated his miracle power to isolate the cold wind around him. It's winter now, it's time to buy Xiaobei a few small cotton-padded jackets. Chen Mou felt that he was a very incompetent father. In order to become strong, he gave up too many things. But if he didn't struggle, he would have no future. The enemy in the future is too powerful. Of course, it doesn't mean that we have to fight to the death. As one of the highest ranks in the world, Chen Mou in the future also has the capital to negotiate. If he is willing to surrender, he will not only not die, but also get a good position. But Chen Mou will never do this. His life is only about fighting. The next day, Chen Mou got up early and took Xiaobei to buy a few small cotton jackets, which cost about 120,000 yuan. Then he went to the laboratory to continue his struggle. A few days passed like this. When I returned to the dormitory, Wang Jun's handed me a letter. This is sent by the robot of Post and Telecommunications Express. Since you are not on the dormitory, I signed for it for you. Chen Mou took it and saw that the middle of the letter was written Chen Mou's personal letter and the sender was Chu Xiaoxi. Wang Jun's left with a strange look in his eyes. The three words Chu Xiaoxi gave people a heavy pressure invisibly. That is the future saint. Chen Mou returned to the dormitory and opened the envelope. After many days, he received news from Chu Xiaoxi again. He is now in a very uneasy mood. I wonder how she is? He spread the envelope flat, and the handwriting on it was elegant and majestic. Student Chen Mou, we haven't been in touch for a long time since the graduation party. I entered Mingdao University as I wished, and my life is okay, but I am also a little depressed. In high school, I often looked forward to life after entering Mingdao University, but when I really entered it, I found that everything was so dull. I tried hard to adapt to it, but in the end I didn't make any friends. The students here like to show themselves in front of me, but unfortunately they are limited by their strength and it is difficult for them to stand out. Chen Mou couldn't help but chuckle when he saw this. Chu Xiaoxi spoke quite tactfully. What he actually meant was that Mingdao University was full of noobs, who were noobs and loved to show off. But it might also be that Chu Xiaoxi's vision was too high. Mingdao University is the strongest university in the country, and there are still many geniuses. Chen Mou continued to read. In the following content, Chu Xiaoxi talked about some scenery on the campus of Mingdao University, activities organized by the school, etc. I wonder how you are doing in Xinghua Academy? With your talent, I think you will shine there. I wish you all the best. Your friend, Chu Xiaoxi. Chen Mou thought for a moment, took out a piece of paper, and wrote a reply. Student Chu Xiaoxi, I have received your letter. The scenery of Mingdao University you described is very attractive. If I have time in the future, I hope to go and see it. I live a good life in Xinghua Academy. The various training facilities here are very complete, and my strength has increased by chance. Coincidentally, Su Dao is now my roommate. In addition to Su Dao, I also know these people. The scenery of Xinghua Academy is also very beautiful. I will describe it to you. However, the entrance examination of Xinghua Academy is really thrilling. I believe you have heard about it. I experienced it in the secret realm of the trial. I don't know if Mingdao University has an entrance examination. If you are willing to tell me, I am happy to listen. There is another thing that you must not expect. I actually have a daughter now. Don't be too surprised. Of course, she is not my own daughter, but was summoned through a door between heaven and earth. Her name is Xiaobai. She is white and tender, very cute. I believe you will like her if you see her. I wish you peace and happiness. Your friend, Chen Mou. Chen Mou spent a lot of hard work and finally filled the letter paper. Putting down the pen, he scratched his head. Why do I feel that it is written in a very literary way? It feels a little too formal, but this is also the characteristic of letters. Compared with instant messaging tools such as WeChat, it has a different charm. Chen Mou thought about it, and ran out to print a few photos with Xiaobai. He bought a new envelope, put the photo and the letter paper in it, affixed a stamp, and posted it in the mailbox. After doing everything, Chen Mou took Xiaobai and threw himself into the laboratory. The experimental career lasted for a month, and at the end of December, the research was finally coming to an end. Chen Mou used the B-class mecha as a prototype and rewrote the algorithm, thereby greatly improving the combat method of the mecha. The improved mecha can not only perform some martial arts moves, but also has many improvements in dodging long-range attacks and locking enemies while moving. Not only that, the operation method of the energy shield has also been greatly improved, and the power consumption has been reduced by about 20%. 20% is already a lot. If you want to improve it again, you must invest more energy, which is a bit uneconomical. Chen Mou was quite satisfied with his results. He injected the algorithm into the laboratory mecha and tested it. The performance met expectations. The question now is, who should we sell it to? Chen Mou had a headache. He didn't seem to know any mecha company manager. It seemed that he had to go out and promote it. Forget it, encrypt it and sell it on the Zhuan's exchange network. Chen Mou came up with a good idea. Chapter 173, Damn, the price is 30 million? Just do it. The Zhuan's exchange network has a trading area, where you can sell real items such as elixirs and mechas, as well as virtual items. Chen Mou encrypted the improved code and put it up for sale. In addition to the code, there are many illustrations that describe in detail the improvement measures for the mecha design. This is to modify the energy shield running line of the mecha at the physical level. After all, this is not something that can be easily changed by just some code. The routing, materials, energy shield forming device and other aspects must be changed. These contents are also encrypted and set to a non-previewable state. After all, if you can see it directly, it is not worth much. Those mecha companies can copy it for you in minutes. What price should I set? Chen Mou was entangled. 1 million. Chen Mou spent a month to make it, and a monthly salary of 1 million sounds good. No, then I will lose a lot, right? Chen Mou is not stupid. This thing is definitely worth more than 1 million. 10 million. Chen Mou pondered for a moment. Would this seem a bit inflated? A few months ago, I was still worrying about a few thousand yuan, but now I can earn tens of millions a month in the blink of an eye. I am quite excited when I think about it. No, 10 million is still not worth my hard work. I have to set it higher. Chen Mou was inflated again. I'll set it at 30 million, and it cannot be previewed. You can buy it if you want. Chen Mou uploaded the encrypted file and set a price of 30 million. You must pay to obtain it before you can browse it. Product: improved algorithm and improvement measures based on the research of Class B mecha content, by modifying the algorithm and circuit, changing materials, improving the energy shield forming device and other measures. The following improvements have been achieved. 1. Improve the martial arts combat algorithm of the mecha. The combat is more flexible and changeable, and there is also a significant improvement in avoiding enemy attacks. 2. Improve the enemy locking algorithm of weapons such as the mecha laser gun, and the mobile shooting hit rate is higher. Note, this is the case of automatic control. If it is combined with human control, it can also enhance the operator's sense of control and reduce the difficulty of operation. 3. Improve the operation mode of the energy shield, and the energy loss rate is expected to be reduced by 20%. 4. This algorithm and improvement measures are only for Class B mechas. If you want to transplant it to other levels of mechas, please modify and adapt it on this basis. Chen Mou wrote an introduction with great effort and finally released the product. In addition, because it is text content that can be copied directly, there is another rule for this type of product. Chen Mou must ensure that the actual effect is consistent with its description. If it does not meet the requirements, the buyer will be forced to refund after the appeal is successful. But if the effect is consistent, the buyer shall not refund for any reason. Because he wrote the work Red Moon Empire, Chen Mou now has a lot of fans following him, and it attracted a lot of attention as soon as it was released. There is new news about the dog-headed military advisor. Is he publishing a new book? The last book was too short, and I'm still not satisfied. Here it comes. What the hell is this? It's not a new book. The price is 30 million. Improved algorithms and improvement measures based on the research of Class B mechas. Can you explain to me what this is? Many followers were shocked. This is too expensive. The figure of 30 million hit everyone's psychological bottom line hard. Although they didn't plan to buy it, they were still curious about what could be sold at such a high price. My little brothers, don't you know how to read the introduction? Below is an explanation of the product, which includes improvements to the mecha's martial arts combat algorithm, improvements to the mecha's laser gun and other weapon lock-on algorithms, and most importantly, improvements to the energy shield's energy loss problem. Improvement of 20%, is that true? That's incredible. Although it's nothing for a mecha, the mecha industry is so large. If all of them are improved by 20%, what will happen? If it's true, it will definitely be a disruptive change for the industry. Whoever masters this technology will be able to look down on other mecha companies in the competition. Don't say 30 million, even 100 million is acceptable. I have a question. The dog-headed military advisor must have spent a lot of effort researching this thing. It must have taken him several years to polish it, but why didn't he contact the mecha company directly to sell it, but instead put it on the Zhuan's exchange network? Is it to be announced so that many mecha companies can compete and sell it at a high price? That's not right. The price is directly set at 30 million, not an auction. If a company directly buys it, wouldn't the dog-headed military advisor lose a lot? As time went by, more and more people started talking about it. Even some people who didn't pay attention to the dog-headed military advisor knew about this incident. The release of a product actually attracted a large number of people to watch. Some shop owners whose products were not on demand vomited blood. What kind of world is this? Some people sneered after seeing this product and left their opinions in the comments section below the product. Gu Tao Junshi is a good writer of novels, but he only writes novels. He has gained some fame, but he doesn't want to settle down. Instead, he is sensationalizing and doing these things. Even if someone buys it, what's the problem? If the product effect does not meet expectations, the buyer can directly apply for a refund. Gu Tao Junshi doesn't even have a real name authentication. How can he be credible? Anyone who buys this thing is stupid. Several mecha companies in China have spent so much time researching mecha improvements. The elite group of scientific researchers in them all have a monthly salary of 1 million, and some even have a monthly salary of several million. They haven't researched something, but you have come up with it. And it's sold so cheaply, there must be something fishy. When these remarks came out, although many people couldn't stand it and thought they were spraying nonsense, there were also people who thought it was reasonable. Indeed, Gu Tao Junshi didn't have a real name authentication. And except for writing novels, he didn't show much in other aspects. Even if he had written a few theoretical research articles before, showing some level, it was far from enough. Chen Mou didn't care about the online discussions. He was making preparations to break through to the high level of miracle apprentice. December is a busy month. Chen Mou was busy doing research in the laboratory for the whole month. Apart from that, he occasionally corresponded with Chiu Xiaoxi. The two communicated with each other, from campus life to cultivation insights. The thin paper carries a lot. This is something that WeChat cannot convey. In December, Chen Mou still insisted on practicing, but he was indeed not as diligent and hard-working as before. But no matter what, his cultivation is still improving. A month of peace has allowed Chen Mou's cultivation to settle down. Coupled with the influence of Xiaobai, there is also an effect of cultivation when sleeping. Chen Mou's cultivation has reached the peak state of the middle stage of miracle apprentice. The 100th day of continuous updates, a memorable day. Only this little has been updated in 100 days, it's cool. Chapter 174 Miracle Apprentice Advanced Stage. In a little over a month, Chen Mou had consumed about half of the enhanced nutrient solution and the sacred tree he bought. His mental and physical state had reached a perfect state. Chen Mou opened the locker in the room, and there were 3 things lying inside. A fire sun vine, and 2 fruits, one red and one yellow. These were sent by the senior brother in the Black Forest, and they were definitely extraordinary. The lockers in Xinghua Academy were specially made. Although these spiritual fruits had been stored for a long time, there was no sign of the essence in them being lost. Chen Mou took out the red and yellow fruits, and then closed the locker. Xiaobai, who was watching from the side, showed a serious look. Dad, are you ready to impact a new realm? Don't worry, I will help you protect the law. Chen Mou laughed dumbly. No, you'd better stay away. I'm afraid that you won't be able to control the energy, and the impact of the airflow will hurt you. Xiaobai curled his lips. Dad looks down on people. Let me tell you a secret, I'm very good at fighting. Chen Mou naturally didn't believe it. How good could a little guy be? In the end, Chen Mou let Xiaobai stay in the dormitory to play computer games, while he went out to find a combat training room to prepare for a breakthrough. He bit off half of the red fruit in one bite. The juice was very delicious, and there was a life essence in it, surging wildly. Chen Mou felt that his lifespan had increased a little. He took a few more bites and ate the whole red fruit. The sea swallow art started to run smoothly, and the meridians in the body were like colored glaze, with a sense of indestructibility in the clearness. The surrounding spiritual energy was attracted and formed a small vortex, which gradually expanded, and its sphere of influence was close to the edge of the training room. The spiritual energy was like a storm, and Chen Mou stood in the center of the vortex. The spiritual energy formed a funnel shape and poured into his body. Not enough. Chen Mou's eyes became brighter and brighter, and he raised his hand and ate the yellow fruit. The yellow fruit also turned into essence in the body, but it was slightly different from the red fruit. If the red-skinned fruit provides life essence and nourishes the body, then the yellow-skinned fruit mainly acts on the spirit, making people clear-minded. The airflow impacted and vibrated continuously. The walls of the training room seemed to be hit by waves and were about to collapse. Runes lit up one after another, guarding the training room. What's going on? A teacher on duty was startled and stepped forward quickly. Such a rich spiritual energy, is this a breakthrough? The teacher on duty checked and found that this was the training room applied for by Chen Mou. With a rune guarding and the walls of the training room specially made, this training room would not collapse. He was not worried about Chen Mou's situation, but was concerned about whether this training room would be demolished by Chen Mou. Reassured, the teacher on duty strolled back to the office. In the training room, Chen Mou let out a long roar, and his breath soared. The joints vibrated, and the sound of dragon roars and tiger roars was heard. A stronger shock wave was emitted, and the wind and clouds surged. Chen Mou stood in the center and stretched out his hand to clinch it. Before the airflow hit the wall, it slowly shrank back under his guidance. The storm must also obey his will. The high level of Miracle Apprentice finally broke through. Next, it is to move towards Miracle Master. However, it is very difficult to go from Miracle Apprentice to Miracle Master. Chen Mou estimated that he would have to wait until at least the next semester to have hope. Miracle Master, that is the real means to change fate. Chen Mou returned to the dormitory and logged on to the Zhuan's exchange network to see the situation. The improved method he put up for sale has attracted more and more people's attention, but unfortunately no one has bought it. This is also normal. After all, it is 30 million, not 3,000 yuan. In addition, he is not famous now. This fame refers to the real convincing fame in scientific research achievements, not the fame of writing novels. More importantly, the act of selling on the Zhuan's exchange network is too weird. Generally, if there is such a breakthrough, people will directly find people in the industry to discuss the price. Chen Mou looked at the background again, and there were many private chat messages. He looked at them one by one and began to classify them. Well, this is a nosy person who wants to join in the fun. I won't reply. This is the head of a poor company who can't afford it. I won't reply. This person wants to lower my price? And he's so hard, and he's another poor guy. I won't reply. Chen Mou browsed the message from a netizen named Jiang Shuiaohan and finally got interested. Jiang Shuiaohan, hello, I'm Song Han, the Deputy General Manager of Changxing Mecha Company under Haiyan Group. I'm very interested in your results. Can we meet offline to discuss it in detail? Chen Mou knew that Haiyan Group was a giant company in China, involved in many industries, affecting all aspects of the people. Changxing Mecha under Haiyan Group is the main business of Haiyan Group and a pillar industry. Changxing Mecha Company is also one of the top mecha companies in China. Chen Mou smiled in his heart. Changxing Mecha Company showed a desire to buy, so it was stable. 30 million should not be difficult to accept for such a company. Chen Mou still had some regrets because the price was set too low. I just posted it and someone showed interest in buying it. According to some netizens, this thing is worth 100 million. Even if this person is exaggerating, 50 million is still worth it. But Chen Mou will not raise the price temporarily. This is a matter of principle. He tapped the keyboard and began to reply. Dog-headed military advisor 1, hello, we can meet, but it is not convenient for me to go too far now. I am in Huazhou City, Xinghua Academy. Can we find a place that is relatively close to discuss in detail? Although Chen Mou replied to the message 2 hours ago, Song Han happened to be online and saw the message immediately. Song Han was shocked. Xinghua Academy? This dog-headed military advisor is really not simple. There are many hidden dragons and crouching tigers in Xinghua Academy. If you only regard it as a school, you are wrong. There are 4 famous schools in the country, and countless strong people. Which of these schools is not a powerful existence? When the collective will of the school comes out, a famous school order is transmitted to all directions, and those multinational groups in the country that are so powerful in the eyes of ordinary people have to give way to it. I heard that there is a mecha production line in Xinghua Academy, which was jointly established by several companies led by Xinghua Academy. The dog-headed military advisor must be a highly respected teacher in Xinghua Academy and a scientific research giant who has been studying for many years. Song Han was surprised at first. Who can be ahead of these mecha companies and break through this technical difficulty? Would that be a slap in their faces? Is their scientific research team so incompetent? But now he has understood. That is a master in Xinghua Academy. It may not even be just one person, but a team. The whole team has been researching for a year and a half, or even several years. Thinking about it this way, it is too cheap to sell it for only 30 million. Wait, there is also a mecha production line in Xinghua Academy. Why don't they digest this achievement internally? Speaking of which, Changxing Mecha Group also owns shares in the production line of Xinghua Academy. Well, there must be a deep meaning in this. I have to ask it clearly when the time comes. Song Han pondered. Chapter 175 I don't have to sell it to you. Sword and are only cold, so you are the master of Xinghua Academy. I happen to be not far from Xinghua Academy. How about we meet at Xinglin Chinese restaurant? Dog-headed military advisor 1, sure. Xinglin Chinese restaurant is about 10 kilometers away from Xinghua Academy. It has excellent dishes and reasonable prices. It is a relatively famous place. This distance is very close. Now the transportation is convenient and you can get there easily. The two exchanged contact information immediately and made an appointment to meet. Both parties are vigorous and resolute. After a short rest, they set off for their destination. Inside Xinglin Chinese restaurant, Chen Mou's phone rang, and a voice came, military advisor, I'm here, where are you? Number 16. Chen Mou replied. Number 16. Song Han took the phone, looked around, and finally found Chen Mou's location. Huh? So young? Song Han was stunned. It's not a big problem. He must be a master who has achieved great success in cultivation. I heard that the law scholars have strong vitality and will show signs of rejuvenation. In other words, compared with their long life, Even if they are in their 40s or 50s, they are just equivalent to their teenage years. Song Han was very envious. His vitality was too strong. Most law scholars had to deliberately change their appearance to look like their middle-aged years. This was to show a stable image, so as not to be regarded as a young boy. Although Song Han was the deputy general manager of a large company and had a high status, he had just entered the initial stage of miracle masters and could not be compared with law scholars. "Hello, I'm Song Han." He hurried forward to greet him. "Hello, I'm Chen Mou." Chen Mou stood up, gave his name, and stretched out his hand to shake hands with Song Han. "Brother Chen is the military advisor. I see you today. You are indeed extraordinary." Song Han habitually complimented him, but he was a little confused. The aura of the man opposite him didn't seem very strong. Yes, he must have deliberately restrained himself. People like this usually like to keep a low profile. "Brother Song, I've heard a lot about you," Chen Mou said politely. Although he didn't know who Song Han was before today, it didn't stop him from hearing a lot of him. The two sat down and ordered a few dishes. The restaurant was very efficient and the dishes were served soon. "May I ask what kind of work does Brother Chen do at Xinghua Academy? Is it teaching, scientific research, or something else?" Song Han asked casually while chatting. "I'm still a student," Chen Mou said. Song Han had just put a piece of meat in his mouth and almost choked to death when he heard it. "Are you kidding me?" "Yes, he must be kidding me." Song Han laughed. "Brother Chen has a real sense of humor." "What sense of humor?" "I'm really a student." Chen Mou felt a little puzzled and also picked up a piece of meat and ate it. Song Han felt something was wrong. Really a student? Wait, he does seem to be very young. His aura is not too strong, probably a miracle apprentice, which is already very good for a student, but it is not at all the law scholar he imagined. "Me TM?" Song Han's face turned cold, and he felt that he was fooled. How much ability can a student have? What's the point of talking about it? Thinking that he, the deputy general manager, actually ran such a long distance just to see a student, Song Han's heart suddenly rose with anger. "I am usually very busy. Every year during the graduation season, there are so many students who come to Changsing Mecha Group to apply for jobs, and Song Han doesn't even look at them. Why, didn't you meet Mr. Song's expectations?" Chen Mou also felt the change in the other party's attitude. He stretched out his fingers and tapped the table a few times, with a half-smile on his face. These CEOs are used to being high and mighty, but they don't know that they are a little funny. What's wrong with students? I am a student of Xinghua. To be honest, if we talk about the weight of Chen Mou and Song Han in the hearts of the real strong, 10 Song Hans tied together are not as good as one Chen Mou. Song Han directly manages many affairs of a large company, and his own cultivation is a miracle master, with a high social status. But Chen Mou only needs to come up with a title to beat him. That is the first freshman of Xinghua Academy. What is the first person? Unparalleled talent. Such people are the reserve of saints. Of course, there are too many uncertainties in the realm of saints, and few students dare to say that they will definitely become saints. But even if they cannot reach the realm of saints, it will be easy to cultivate to the realm of law scholars in the future. And Song Han, in the final analysis, is just a worker. He is only the deputy general manager, not a director. His salary is very high, but he does not hold any shares in Changsing Mecha Company, or only a small amount of shares. No. Song Han calmed down and forced a smile. He is still quite cultured. But it is obvious that his enthusiasm has greatly decreased. Since Mr. Song is not interested in my thing, forget it, I don't have to sell it to you. Chen Mou was ready to leave. If you don't want it, there are many people who want it. Wait, don't worry, we can still talk. Song Han hurriedly tried to keep him. He felt from Chen Mou's confident look that this thing should have some merits. Otherwise, the other party's confidence would not be so strong. That was not a forced appearance, but absolute confidence. In the past, Song Han was the one who examined others, but today, the other party was examining himself. Whether to sell or not depends on the other party's mood. I'm a spender, and I'm a grandson. Song Han muttered in a low voice, feeling very depressed. Hey, classmate Chen. Song Han considered the address and said with some embarrassment, can you reveal the specific content of your improvement measures? After all, 30 million is not a small amount, and I can't make the decision at will. The introduction that Chen Mou wrote on the Zhuan's exchange network is indeed very tempting, but the authenticity still needs to be studied. After all, it is completely encrypted and no one can see it. Even the official Zhuan's exchange network cannot see it. What the official Zhuan's exchange network can do is to verify the authenticity of the content after the transaction is completed and in case of dispute. If it is consistent with the description, the refund application will not be accepted. Otherwise, a refund will be forced. This rule seems that Chengxing Mecha Company will not suffer any loss, but it is also a troublesome thing to mobilize 30 million funds. If it comes to the refund step, it will take a long time. These are all time costs, and the cash flow of 30 million is also locked. So Song Han must be very cautious. Chen Mou can also understand this. Since the other party's attitude improved and he asked in a negotiating tone, he didn't say much and began to reveal some specific content. Chen Mou directly mentioned some improvement measures, which made Song Han's eyes light up. Of course, Chen Mou also had reservations and couldn't reveal everything. It just sounded awesome and made people feel that it was feasible, but when it came to the details, he kept silent. Even so, Song Han was excited. This improvement measure has a future. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.